Yeah. This is how I start the show, kind of like the Mitch show.
Yeah. Oh, so I ruined it.
Damn it. You just ruined it twice. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Violent Hippie Podcast. So today's episode has already been ruined. Thank you. But today's episode is my good friend, Sean Matson. He is a former Navy SEAL officer type and current entrepreneur. And we did not know each other in the SEAL team days. We did not operate together. However, we did meet sort of as entrepreneurs in an interesting way. We'll get into that. But yeah, you've owned several businesses and kind of from start to finish, and you own 2 companies now that I know of, maybe more.
Yeah, we got a couple others that are still in the kind of development phase. So.
Nice. But I just wanted to give you the floor basically and tell your story or whatever you want to share with us, and promote your businesses, etc. And I'm sure we'll get into all kinds of side tangents. So
probably.
Anyway, you have the floor.
All right, man. Well, thanks. Like Mitch said, we initially, I guess we reached out over Instagram. Was the initial meeting. Like you said, we didn't know each other in the teams, but before the infamous
Sean Matson, who the fuck is that guy?
Before the infamous sliding into the DMs of Mitch Aguiar. So, like Mitch said, was a SEAL. Did 13 years, 10 years active, another 3 years in the reserves, 2005 to 2018. Before that, I went to Virginia Military Institute. So here in Virginia, obviously, out in the mountains, VMI is known for creating citizen soldiers, is what their motto is, all the way dating back to Stonewall Jackson and others that have either taught there or went there. So it was founded in 1839, and so it's got a long history, really cool history from Civil War, obviously through the generations of wars, different generals and leaders and things like that through the history have been through VMI. You do pay to go get abused there for 4 years, so that's
what a scam.
Yeah, and actually it's pretty fucking expensive. So unlike the academies, you gotta
get like scholarships there. Like
you can. Yeah, I mean,
with the academy, they pay you to go through that, right?
Yeah, because you're already getting like a couple $100 a month from the military as an ROTC student there. So, where at VMI you can also get an ROTC scholarship, or you can get an athletic scholarship. So I actually went there for swimming. I got a small scholarship there for swimming, and then that got ripped out. So your first week there is called your Rat Line Hell Week thing that they do, and towards the end of that week, basically right after like your deposit is no longer refundable. They were like, hey, just so you know, your scholarship's gone because of Title IX. We have to give your money to a girls' soccer team. And I was like, well, I'm already here, and I was already going to go here.
It's too bad that didn't happen in 2021, because you could have just been like, well, funny you mention that. I am a girl.
Yeah. And I like to play soccer, too.
And you dominate soccer on the girls' team.
Yeah.
So.
But so, they brought myself and 2 other of my buddies, a guy named Jim Driggs and Justin Fallon, into the coach's office. And basically, like, they gave us an option. They were like, hey, you can leave now and we won't, charge you or anything like that, or you can continue on, but now you're going to have to pay for your education. And I was like, well, I already wanted to go there. I mean, the scholarship money was just extra.
Right.
But so obviously stuck it out and did the 4 years there, graduated with a civil engineering degree there in 2005, and then got a commission and then went into buds from there.
What kind of swimming did you do?
So I was a 200 and 400 IMer, 100, 200 butterflyer. So I did a lot of the shittier, like
IMer.
Yeah, IM. So individual medley. So fly back breast free. So you do all the strokes. So typically did well in butterfly, and then held my own on backstroke, and fucking lost it in breaststroke, and then would crush everybody in freestyle. So it's kind of one of those things, like I was never good at all four of the strokes, and always, like, usually most guys have one of those legs are usually their weaker one. It's just my breaststroke was always my weakest, and so never did any individual events in breaststroke because I just sucked, but I just couldn't figure out the feet and turning out, but butterfly just came natural to me.
That's cool. Yeah, I combat side stroke is my fastest stroke. You know, it's I never did any competitive swimming or anything like that, and when I joined, or signed up to get my Buds contract, and I did my TSP, like the day before I did it, Mike Noss, my mentor, whatever, he taught me how to do the combat side stroke the day before. Yeah. And, and that's been the stroke that I've always done. Even when I swim for fun or any kind of swimming I do the combat side stroke. Especially. Did you know the combat side stroke? Like, were you practicing it?
No.
At that time, or no?
No, and I do a dolphin kick with it just because I had the butterfly background, and I've taught other guys. You do that
without fins?
Yeah, with fins or without. I've taught other guys how to do it. So it's what I like about the butterfly. If you get it down right, you're using your whole body, so you're not killing your hip flexors. So if guys are sucking at running, I try to push them to do the butterfly side stroke with it, because it's helping, your whole body's undulating and going through the water, and it's forcing you, and you're not just burning your hip flexors again. So if it's a kid that is like, oh man, I just struggle at my runs and I'm always on the threshold of not making it, I'm like, listen, you really need to work on this on your side stroke. That way you save those hip flexors when you need to go for the run, and you're not just burning those out. So that's always been my suggestion to guys when they're like, if they come to me or talk to me, or just reach out and say, hey, like, what suggestions do you have on that stuff? I
do a little flutter kick in between my scissor kick.
Yep.
Yeah, and I did my TSP. I did or PST, not TSP. My TSP,
your thrift savings
my thrift savings plan. Whoops, I meant my PST. Everybody like, nerd.
But, did he even actually go to Buds?
Yeah. Oh, I see a fraud. Busted.
Yeah.
But my PST, I did 8 minutes flat on my swim, and 9:45 was my best run ever. And I mean, my first PST, I think I did like 11:45 or something. It was like I had 15 seconds, I think, to spare with my run. I was always horrible at running.
Yeah. I never really trained for running, but just because of my swimming background, my runs were always fast just because I had the endurance.
Yeah.
And like I could, so my PST score, I did a 6:18 on the swim.
Smoked it. And I was one of the fastest at 8 minutes. So I'm sure you were the fastest in the class.
So the year that I went, I think there was one other guy that beat me, and I'd heard through the grapevine that I was up there in terms of some of the fastest that I've ever posted times for.
Are you in the Waterman's Guild?
No. So
that's for those of you who don't know what that is. In second phase, you do a 5.5 mile nautical swim, so it's more like 7 miles, and it's an open water ocean swim. And if you do it in under 3 hours, then you get put on this famous board, the Waterman's Guild, which I'm surprised you didn't get.
That, and I also in second phase for first time every time. Didn't get it through pool comp because the first evolution, the free ascent, I don't know what happened, but I guess I went into that week thinking like I fucking own this because I was a swimmer. I got it, and I didn't practice, and I got down there and I froze on the fucking just free ascent, and I was like, all I have to do is blow out, and I fucking failed that.
Easiest thing ever.
Easiest fucking thing, and I failed that first evolution, and I was just like, well, that makes me look like a jackass.
So in second phase, there's different pool evolutions, and it all has to do with diving that you do. And there's also another like special board, and it's called first time every time, which is what we're talking about. It's like because you get, I think it's 4 chances. Yeah, 4 chances on each of the big evolutions that they have. And if you nail it the first time on all of those evolutions, you get on the first time every time board. And I had first time every time except for pool comp. Yeah. I got it on my second try. Yeah, and I was like, fuck. Yeah, see, like I said, the FSA. So that was what everything else. And that one that he's talking about is absolutely the easiest one.
All you do,
literally just dive down to the bottom of the pool, kiss the bottom, and blow up, and don't come up faster than your bubbles.
Yes, yeah. So
and you fucked that up.
I fucked that up. Now I did nail pool comp for first time, so I got everything else, and actually,
and that's a big one because after you make it through, like Hell Week is the first real big chopping block in buds, and then after you make it through Hell Week, so before Hell Week, your chances of making it through buds are like, less than 10%. Yep. And then after you make it through Hell Week, your chances go up to like 75% that you're going to graduate and get your trident. And then after pool comp, it's like 94% chance you're going to, make it. So that's a huge deal. Once you pass pool comp, you're like BTG. Yeah. And, as a SEAL, you're like, fucking nerds, you guys are never going to make it. But once, I just know through personal experience, like me and all my classmates and friends, like when no one was looking, we were like, we're BTGs. Yeah, basically team guys.
Yeah,
and that couldn't be further from the truth.
No, but that's
but at that time, that's
and too, like, I mean, I know you talk to other kids and other stuff like that, and like, I've had guys reach out, and I don't do it a lot just because, I mean, there are people that's all they do, and I'm like, listen, if you want a training program, you want something, like, go fucking do that. Like, I didn't use anybody to help me. Like, I just fucking figured it out.
That wasn't a thing when we went through. No. Social media wasn't a thing. I mean, Facebook kind of had just started, but there was no like SEALs on social media that you could just reach out to and just text like, hey bro, can you help me with my swim?
Like, no.
And, and when we went through, can you imagine like bugging a SEAL? Yeah. And like asking them a question about something? Like when we went through, like all the SEALs to me, like were like, they were different things. Like, it was like almost like gods, it's like, I don't want to be in their presence. I'm not worthy unless like, and if I am, I better like present myself well and like this and that. I have people just reach out, yo dude, like, let me get some advice or whatever. Like just like I owe them something.
Here's your advice.
Or like I know you.
Don't fucking quit.
Yeah, I say
how do you become a SEAL?
Don't be a pussy.
Quit. Yeah,
don't be a pussy. That's my best advice.
I did have one, like a family member or friend. I forget who it was, but they like, hey, will you talk to this kid? And like, he's a family friend. I was like, sure, whatever. So I got on a call with him, and he was like, man, like I'm good with everything, but I'm really worried about dive physics. And I was like, the fucking test? And he was like, yeah.
I feel that.
But I was like, you're worried about a test.
Oh, he hadn't even been through buds.
No.
Oh, okay.
He hadn't even started buds.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm like, listen, that test is like 1/100th of the entire fucking buds. Like, first thing, why don't you worry about fucking getting there first? Yeah. And I was like, listen, if your mindset is already right now that you're worried about this written fucking test, you're never going to fucking make it. You've already checked out. You're not going to fucking make it. He was like, I can do it. I'm like, listen, I appreciate, your enthusiasm, but you're going to fucking quit because you're worried about a stupid written test that no one ever talks about. And I was like, you're not going to make it. And I never got another call from him.
I've
so
told
I don't know
so many fucking people, like just bluntly to their face, like, hey, don't bother.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saving you some embarrassment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saving you a lot of time and energy and effort. If you even get to that point or whatever, you will 100%, you are not going to make it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be stuck doing a job you don't want to do, like in the military and all this shit. It's going to be embarrassing as fuck, telling all your friends and family that you were medically dropped, even though you weren't, like, because no one ever quits buds. It's always a medical drop. Or, the instructor said I was too badass.
Yeah.
I just, I was too wild for the SEAL teams. Like, I couldn't do it.
Dude, we had a good one. So after Hell Week, obviously go right into walk week, and you're not supposed to get back in the water for a few days, and you get that whole week basically you don't swim,
right?
Just because of infection.
We were in the water. We were walking around in the pool.
Well, in the ocean to do ocean swims, because they don't want you to get the infections or whatever. So Friday of walk week, they scheduled a 2-mile ocean swim, and we were like, this is fucking bullshit. Like we're still barely, like. And it's dumb because like Monday you're doing one, so it's like it's just a few days, so whatever But
so
at the time,
water right off of Tijuana's not clean.
No, yeah, right. But so we're all sitting out there, and one of the guys was in medical, so we were waiting for him to come out of medical, and then all of a sudden, like we've been out there and we were supposed to already start the swim, like the boats are already out there and everything, and all of a sudden we hear. Ding, ding. And we're like, what the fuck just happened? All of a sudden, the instructors come running over the berm and they're like, swim secured, bitches, get the fucking classroom. We're like, what just happened? Like, okay. We run in the classroom and they're like, and I forget the kid's name. And they're like, we knew he was going to fucking quit. Like, we thought he was going to quit in Hell Week, but we just couldn't get him enough to push hard enough to get him to quit. But he told us the whole story. They're like, hey, he tried to get medical to give him a waiver to get out of the swim, and medical basically told him either get out and do the swim or quit. They're like, we had no intentions of putting you guys in the water. We just knew this motherfucker was going to quit. And I was like, that's fucking legit. Yeah. And so he was post Hell Week and quit. It was like, damn, well,
let him go.
Yeah, see ya. But it's like, man, that's ruthless. But yeah, it's like, that mentality, like, and I've heard from other guys that have gone out there and been instructors that you can see which kids are going to make it. And it's like, they can read a kid and you just like, I don't know. It's just like a thing that they can see and they can tell just by their mannerisms, like what they're doing, what they're saying. And they're like, yeah, you can see when a kid is checked out and when he's ready to quit, and all you got to do is just give them that little tap or that little like guidance there, like, hey, it's right there, and they're off. Dude,
I remember, I would say you can't say that as a student going through, because there was some guys that I thought this guy's for sure gonna make it. Like he already seems like a SEAL to me, and then oh, where are you going? You just quit. Like what the fuck? And then other guys that you're like, this guy's never gonna fucking make it, and just doesn't leave.
You definitely can as a student, like, cause like that. Like you had guys that were like, just like phenomenon, like PT studs. Like all of a sudden, like we had a kid that ran like a 24-minute 4-mile time run. Like, I mean, you barely could keep this kid in your fucking sights. Mm-hmm. He quit the first day of surf torture.
Yeah,
first phase.
It's nuts. Like, it's a full on like. If it's not one thing, it's another. That they're gonna find some sort of chink in your armor, or something is gonna fuck with you, or be a struggle for you. It's just buds is so multidimensional, and it's just attacking you from all fronts. And yeah, man, I remember. So two things. Like one, I remember, like I was saying, like these kids reach out to us on Instagram and stuff like that, and it's weird. It's weird because I've had kids that were in high school that, were reaching out to me saying they wanted to go to buds and this and that. And I'm like, cool, don't be a pussy, blah, blah, blah. And then now they're at like my old SEAL team, like in my troop and stuff like that. Some of them, you know, obviously the majority don't make it, but some of them, and it's kind of weird to like think about. But and it's like we didn't have that growing up or when we were coming through. Definitely not. And I remember meeting a guy who was in third phase, and he had come back, and he was from the town that I was in, and he had came back, and I remember looking at him like, dude, like this guy's on another fucking level. He's in third phase of buds right now. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy.
I just want to get there.
And like, I felt like, you know, like I don't even deserve to be talking to this guy right now. You know what I mean? So, but it's just crazy the difference in the mentality and the level of access that these kids now have access to, and not just kids, fucking, you know, I say kids, but like 23, 25-year-olds, whatever, who are going through.
Yeah, everybody does. I mean, you know what I mean? And I think, you know, I mean, the community itself has put a lot of that out there too, just by, you know, getting, I mean, like there's TV shows, movies and stuff like that. I mean, they've spent so much money on recruitment. Like before it was like, you had to read a book and the book was from Vietnam. Yeah. You know, talking about,
I didn't even know I had to go to Buds. I didn't even know Buds was a thing. Honestly, I literally signed up for Buds just like to be a SEAL. Yeah. Because my recruiter's like, oh, you look like you're in good shape. You want to be a SEAL? I'm like, okay. Yeah. Like those are like the sneaky guys, right? Yeah. And my mom's like, yeah, they're like the rock stars of the military. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up for that. See, I didn't even know I had to go to Buds.
I was, it was interesting. So like, I was 12 when I started so I wanted to serve. Like I have a family history of people serving in the Navy. My dad was in the Navy. But at that time growing up, like I was all about being a pilot. Top Gun, you know, was heavy. And I was like, I want to be a pilot. I want to be,
Maverick.
Yeah. I want to be Maverick. But when I was 12 years old, we were out in San Diego, and I remember seeing guys running down the beach, with like logs and boats and all this stuff, and then in and out of the water. I told my mom, I was like, that's what I want to go do. She was like, what are those? I was like, I don't know, but that's what I want to go do. Whatever those guys are doing, that's what I want to go do. And then, I found out that, you know, that's what they were doing. They were going through Buds at the time. But like when I got to Buds, probably similar to like what you were saying, like, you know, there was guys there and they're like, oh yeah, you know, we're going to do this and this day. We're going to do this day. And I was like, okay. Like I had no idea, but they already knew like what the evolution names were, like what times were. I was just like,
see, I figured you would be that type because you were an officer, and Buds is different for officers and enlisted. I mean, you go through the same evolutions. It's just a different, not even perspective. It's a different thing though. Like you're at VMI, you knew that you were going to Buds, right? So you're in college for 4 years planning on going to Buds. So it's like, you know, especially a lot of the academy guys, they seem to like,
almost bred to that. Like,
they knew what they were getting into, you know, pretty heavy detail.
Yeah. See, I knew I was going to go to Buds, and I knew I wanted to be a SEAL, but like, that's about as far as I went. Like I didn't sit there and become a student of like everything about Buds like some of these other kids did when I got there. And I was like, okay, sure. And like, hey, we're going to, you know, you need to have this time for the O course. And like these kids were already like practicing and running. I was like, I'm just going to figure this shit out. Like, you know, it's just like, I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. Just fucking do it and just go. But like, they already kind of like, oh yeah, I was talking to this buddy. And like, I feel like too, that's what also made them quit, because they got so worried about the next day, or like when something didn't go the way, like, oh man, my buddy was in this class and he said,
had it in my head.
Yeah, like we're going to get beat here. It's like, okay, when it happens, and just let it roll instead of like and I think,
I believe that. I believe I was the same way, because I was just like, well, they're going to tell us exactly what they want us to do, you know? And like I'm not concerned about 3 weeks from now. No. I'm concerned about the next evolution. Yeah. You know, and I'm just going to take it one evolution at a time, you know, and that was definitely a better mentality. There was tons of guys that, same thing. Like they all know, you know, they're all talking about this and that and the third. They got friends that have gone through other classes or whatever. I was 18. I was just like, whatever. I mean, we'll see whatever's coming.
Make it happen. Yeah. I mean, same thing. I didn't worry about that part, and just, just rolled with it. And I think, you know, there's a lot like right now with the changing of how, you know, the schoolhouse is doing some of the things, like cutting out some of the chow runs or other things. And like, I don't know, for me, it's like, but the instructors that are the gatekeepers there, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take out a run, in my opinion, was worthless anyway. I mean, to run over to chow and run back, right? Like, it's like, okay, yeah, you put more miles on your legs, but that's a lot of time when you consider how much time it takes you to leave that one evolution, run over there to get there in time, and then run back, right? Well, now, if I'm an instructor, what am I going to figure out? Well, I'm going to figure out how to fill that time up with more bullshit, you know, fuck games. It's like, well, now they keep you at the O course for 45 minutes longer, and you're playing, you know, back and forth over the berm, get wet and sandy now. So you're still getting those miles, and you're still getting those games. It's just now
you have to be adaptable.
Yeah, you have to be adaptable, but it's like, yeah, and in some aspects, it's like you could argue that, like with those chow runs and stuff, it's like that was free time almost for us, right? There was no instructors. Like, you know, it's like you could just kind of check out for, you know, 20, 30 minutes while you ran over there, got your food and ran back. But now it's
hide
like
in the back cave.
Yeah, now it's like you're in front of the instructors now the whole time. And it's like you don't get that little bit of break there like that. So I don't know. I just like that's the way I look at it. It's like
Six and one, half a dozen the other.
I feel like the guys are going to always figure out how to make it painful for the students going through it, because nobody in the community wants it to be watered down. Nobody in the community wants it to turn into, you know, a shit show.
Hopefully.
I mean, you know, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I hope. I mean, I like I said, I don't know if it's true or not, but like just talking to people that I know that have been out there as instructors, I mean, it seems like the guys that go out there to be instructors, that's their mentality for the most part. I mean, obviously, you know, depending on who's the leadership and what comes down comes from that. But, you know, I hope that continues to go that way. It's
unfortunate. My buds class was the last hard buds class.
I heard that.
I thought it was yours, but it turns out it was mine.
Yeah. It's weird. It just kind of resets every year.
It seems to happen. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. Dude,
each class.
It's funny. You're saying like the instructors can see, you know, and that I remember one time in Hell Week, I was running and there was this kid, I think his name was Hubbard. Shout out to Hubbard wherever you are.
Yeah.
I was friends with him like all through first phase, you know, the first 3 weeks of first phase. And then, you know, and he was doing really good, and he was better than me at like almost everything. And like, I was a horrible runner,
right?
You know, and he was like a good runner. And I remember like Monday of Hell Week or Tuesday of Hell Week, we were doing the back-to-back, I think it was just a mile run or something like that. And it was just a mile run down the beach and coming back. And there was no boats on our heads for like the first time in Hell Week. Yeah. There was no boats on our heads. It was just a pretty simple run. And I think they call it like the mile repeater or something like that. And I remember coming up like on him, you know, and I was thinking like, oh fuck yeah, I'm like catching him, you know what I mean? Because I'm not a fast runner, and he was always pretty fast. So I was like, I'm coming up on him, I'm kicking ass, you know. And I was like pumped because like I was so fucking stoked in Hell Week. I couldn't believe that we were like actually in Hell Week and I was doing it. And I knew 5 minutes after Hell Week started I was gonna make it. Yeah. And so this is like Tuesday or something, and I'm running up on him, and I was like, we're fucking doing it, bro. And like I'm like all fucking pumped up, and I'm like excited, and I'll never forget, dude. Like I came up on him on the right side of him, and I'm like, what's up, bro? We're fucking doing it. And he looked at me and he was like like that, and I was just like, oh, he doesn't look good. And I was like, you okay, bro? And he literally didn't even answer me.
No.
He just like just terrified, and I was like, okay, and I just kept running.
Well, see you later.
And I kept running, and we get to the fucking finish line. He got to the finish line and ran straight to the bell and fucking rang out. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that is so weird.
It is like you said, the you know, that just all of a sudden I never I don't know, I always thought like, you know, we had probably like you did too, like we had guys that were like even before first phase got ready to start up, you know, they're like, man, this is my second time or third time, like I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, da-da-da-da. And then like not even a week after they start, there's like ding, you're like,
dude, there was a kid.
What happened?
There was a
Like,
kid in my class
totally
that
thought you were gonna make it.
he had quit on the Beehive
Yeah.
and went to the fleet, came back, and then fucking quit again in the Beehive.
Wow.
And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And like he had to go through all that bullshit in the fleet.
Hey, let me just say something real quick about the Beehive. I will tell you, as a swimmer, I was uncomfortable with that. Like I wasn't at the point like I was gonna quit, but I was uncomfortable with that. Like I did not like that evolution at all. Like,
well, apparently you're not alone because
I did not like that. Like I was like, this is just, and then I mean, every time you think you're gonna get air, you don't, and it's just like,
so
I don't like this.
So to tell people what the Beehive is, the Beehive is a drill where you're in the pool, you're wearing camis and boots, and you have a mask full of water, and like a dive mask full of water. There's probably about 30 of you in the pool. There's an instructor in the middle, and you guys all have to essentially come around him like this. And there's instructors that swim around the outside of the group of guys. So you're all bunched in close like this, and the instructors on the outside are pushing you towards the center, and you can't touch the instructor in the center. So you're basically treading water, and you're
drowning.
You're drowning. You're in such close proximity to the people around you, though, that in order to get to the surface to breathe, you essentially have to drag your buddy or whoever's next to you down, like you're pulling on their shoulders. Whether you want to or not, there's no way to get up, you know what I mean, to get air. And you are sinking because you're wearing boots and camis and stuff like that, and that you don't have a lot of propulsion. So you have to use your arms and kick, and you're kicking people next to you, and it's just a fucking shit show. Yeah. The instructor in the middle is splashing water in your face. The instructors on the outside are splashing water in your face. So when you do finally get to the surface, it's like you're not getting a clean breath of air. You're getting splashes of water in there. It makes you cough. And then like real panic sets in because there's a couple things that you need in life.
Well, and the other thing is so when you have all of that going on, right? All the turbulence that's happening, now your water, like when you're using water, that makes it harder for you to actually get the lift you need. Right. And so that's why they create that. Is anytime you have a whirlpool or bubbles or stuff like that, when you're trying to grab through that, you don't have the resistance that you normally do. So it makes you work even harder to try to get. It's just a snowball effect that happens. Like I said, Like it's another easy evolution that, man, it just was not comfortable for me. Like it was just like, man, I'm glad that was over. You know?
And again, so this evolution, I would say, is one of the biggest quitting evolutions in buds that I saw. Yeah. And so much so that, like, normally in first phase, the bell was on the grinder, and wherever you were in the day, running on the beach, doing the obstacle course, at the pool, whatever, when you quit, you just quit, and then you would have to go to the grinder and ring the bell and put your helmet on the ground. And this evolution was such a notorious quitting evolution that they would bring the bell to the pool. Yeah. And they brought it to the pool. So, and you're like, oh shit, like the bell's here.
Yeah. During Hell Week,
in buds. During Hell Week, they drive around everywhere with the bell. But the bell, when you're in buds and like you first get to buds and you're a white shirt, the bell is like Voldemort. Yeah. It's like you don't even look at it. You don't say its name. You don't want to, like, it's an evil thing,
I just saw, man, I can't think of his name right now, but he posted yesterday, he's filming a movie, and they have a prop, and it's a bell, and he was like, still to this day, like, I just don't even want to look at that bell. He's like, it's
an evil thing.
Fuck, man.
Because that represents the failure of you reaching your goal. Yeah. And, and they bring the bell to the pool. And in my class, there was probably 30 people that quit that day. And, and it's like the second or third day of first phase you do that. And But yeah, there was, and it's 5 minutes. You have to tread. I think it's 5 minutes.
I don't remember the time, but
I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes, something like that.
Like I said, I remember that was one of those ones that was just not a comfortable evolution for me. Like, and I just figured like swimmer, like this is going to be okay. And it's like, nope, that was not a.
You know what was really terrible for me every time was filling the mask up with water and doing flutter kicks.
Yeah.
I cannot stop the water from running down my nose into my like throat. So every time I had to.
It means you have a good gag reflex.
Well, I pride myself on that. So like every time we did that, dude, I would like, I'm like choking, drowning, and kicking the flutter kicks and stuff, and they spray you in the face with the hose. And dude, that was like, I was always like struggle bus with that. The beehive, I did fantastic on, and I have like a trick to it.
You just smash everybody and just like, fuck you guys.
not even that. And I don't even want to give away the trick because I'll tell you about it afterwards. I don't want to give away the trick on here because then it'll probably create like 200 more seals.
Yeah, the instructors
this year
will adjust their tactics now. They're like, Mitch, you bastard, you told our secret.
But I swear, I have like a way to do it.
All right, I look forward to it.
And it was like dumb easy.
Yeah.
I just like kind of tried it, figured it out on the fly. Cause again, I wasn't the type that like knew all the evolutions coming, but in the moment I was just like, oh, I'm just going to do this. And it worked. And it was pretty cool. I'll tell you about it later.
Did you ever watch the Buds 2, 3, 4 videos?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I watched those
after I'd signed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my dad was like, you have any idea what you signed up for? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And he bought those videos and we watched them all together and I was like, oh,
yeah,
fuck.
Well, it was funny because like one of the ones that I remember was during Hell Week when you're doing the pool games, you know?
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh man, that looks so fun. Like I can't wait to get to Hell Week and do the pool games and like. But I never remembered like watching the videos what happened like when you lost. Like I only saw them playing the games and I was like, man, that's going to be so much fun. Like I can't wait to that, you know, and then like I get there and we lose like the first race and just spread eagle, you know, they get sprayed with misting water and I was just jackhammering on the pool deck and I was like, why the fuck didn't they show that on that video? Because this sucks.
Oh, well, when you think about it, bro, that 234 documentary it's pretty insightful, you know, like it gets you that was the biggest idea of Buds that I had, you know.
That was same for me.
But it's a 6-hour documentary on a 8 to 10 month process. You know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking sugar coated. It's not even. Yeah. It's just not even close, you know, to what you're going to experience. It's beyond sugar coated. Yeah. You know, but
it is. I think it's still to this day though. It's still the best insight from start to finish. It's the best insight that you can get into Buds.
Without a doubt, yeah.
I mean, like, it's like, if you're going... Like,
and they don't need to make it any more detailed.
No, definitely not. And like, to your point, right? Like, it would... the only way to actually make it, like, a full... would be a 3-month documentary, basically. Right. Yeah. That you'd have to just sit there and watch, you know, because, I mean, all the film time that goes in, and like you said, all the little evolutions, things that, like... that would randomly come up and the instructor's like, hey, we got an extra 15 minutes and you just go do something.
Or they just wake you up in the middle of the night and beat your ass,
sucks, you know? Yeah. I know we told a lot of Bud stories. We were transitioning from first to second phase and like doing our evals, and one of our guys was like the comic book drawer. A cartoonist, and him and a couple other guys, like they just destroyed the instructors, and
risky move.
Yeah, it was, and so we ended up having a full sea bag inspection Saturday after finishing first phase, going into second phase, where first phase instructors and second phase instructors showed up. And our second phase proctor came and it was just like, you guys fucked up. Like who the fuck do you think you guys are to write? And then like they got up there and read them and we were like, oh shit. I mean, one guy was like, hey, I don't know if you're going to go, I heard you were going to go back and operate, something to this effect. Like I heard you were going to go back to operate, but the only thing that looks like you could operate these days is a microwave. And it was like, ooh, dude, like that's not fucking cool. Like, all right. Yeah. So yeah, we paid the man for that and so it was like even going into second phase, like the second phase instructors did not like us because of that. And it was like, fuck, like that's put us off on a bad foot right off.
Yeah.
But,
so what was it like with the other officers, like the academy guys? Did they like kind of look at you like you were fucking, not on their level, or was there any kind of like rivalry between the academy guys and the just
yeah, I mean I don't think so. I mean, like we joke to each other. I mean, just like, oh dude, like I mean, like they'll like, why the fuck did you pay to go get abused? Like you could have gone to the academy. I was too dumb. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, you are extra like nerdish for doing that because you could have gone to any regular college and gotten like a fun college experience, and instead you went to VMI.
Yeah. But like, I think I don't think that there's ever like I know for me, I was always trying to outperform them just because I knew that, I felt like they were already set up and ready, like, and I didn't. But part of it was because I just also didn't have a lot of that. Like they all had been to mini buds already. So they went there like the summer before we started buds, and they go through a couple weeks of like mini buds. So they go out there and actually participate with the instructors, and it's their own little class. So they all got exposure to that. They all had like their own like prep weeks at the academy and stuff like that. Like I didn't get any of that. Like, even though I knew that's where I was going, like VMI is just not set up for that. And they don't do it. They're starting to try to do more stuff, but like the way that the Navy ROTC is kind of run at VMI, usually a Marine Corps like colonel is in charge of it, and they try to make it like Marine infantry. So like the guys that want to go SEALs right now that are at VMI, like I've talked to a few of them. They're like, and I've gone up there and spoke to VMI a couple times, and they're like, yeah, we do all these ruck marches and all this stuff. Like, why the fuck are you ruck marching? Like, that's not what we do. Like, yeah, you got to carry weight and stuff like that. That's a Marine thing. Like, that's like an Army thing. Like, I mean, how many times did we wear rucks and buds? It's basically third phase, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just to strengthen their legs,
But they're doing like long ruck marches, like, and it's just like, that's not what you're like.
If anything, it might be good for their mindset.
Yeah,
like true. just grinding and enduring the suck.
Yeah, yeah, and I just think that it's like really, like if you're going to buds. Like the thing that I tell everybody is you have to crush the PST, period. Yeah. Like if you go to buds and you're weak in one area.
Well, if you fail the PST, you're done.
You're done. I mean, that's the easiest thing right there. But like if you're good at everything in the PST, you can make it if you have the right mindset. Yeah, because for sure. It's all those things just on repeat. It's like, dude, nobody cares if you can deadlift 400 pounds. No, definitely no one cares if you can squat 600. Like, if you can squat that much and run, a sub 9 minute mile and a half, you're probably going to be all right. But like if you squat 600 pounds and you're running 13 minutes every time, you're probably not going to make it. Like, there are some anomalies like we talked about earlier. Like, there's like, some of those guys that like they get goon squatted every time on a run, but they still make it, right? But then there's,
captain of the goon
squad. But then, like I said, there's other guys that are, incredible athletes that can make those runs, and then they still quit. So it's not a 100% thing, but it's just like if you're good at the PST, that's a good benchmark, and it's like, okay, I know that I can crush this.
I've also seen guys prepping a lot of dudes. This is not uncommon, who train a ridiculous amount and are like great at everything and then fail the PST.
Yeah.
And I'm always so dumbfounded by that.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I wanted to, or when I was in my journey, whatever, I practiced the PST a couple of times a week, like three times a week. I practiced the PST.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yep.
I literally did nothing else. And I got really good at the PST.
Yep.
And, you know, and I crushed the PST. And then after that, I was like, okay, now I'm going to focus on, you know, just making it through buds one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
just that endurance.
I had never run further than a mile before I signed up to go to buds.
Yeah.
So like that mile and a half, I was like, that was fucking serious for me. I was like, why are people running this far?
Yeah.
You know, like, and, you know, so that was something that I needed to really focus on, was just getting good at the PST. And then, you know, and then it turned into, all right, now I got to get ready for this 4 miler,
yeah.
you know, and every run for me was a prayer. You know, I was just having my talks with Jesus in the back, like just give me the strength to make it across, you know, with 1 second to spare.
I can do it.
And, you know, I'll do anything. And just, whole time struggle. But then like third phase, I was like a pretty good runner.
Yeah. It helps condition you to get there.
Yeah.
Like, I got to know.
Yeah.
I had a guy that used to work for me at Matbach and at really at Strikeforce. He was one of the guys that we hired here locally, and but I hired him because I kept seeing him at events, and he was helping another guy with like fight promotions and stuff like that. And I was like, man, like this kid is always out here. He's like hard worker. So actually, my wife Samantha was like, dude, you need to hire him. Like he's just got that mentality. And so hired him and crushed it, did a great job. And then like one day he was like, hey, he's like, I'm going to go try out to be a SEAL. I was like, well, fucking go do it, dude. And he was like, I thought you'd be mad. I was like, why the fuck would I be mad? Like he's a wrestler, played football too, in college for a little bit. But I was like, dude, like I don't want you to come work for me and do this the rest of your life. If this is what you want to go do, go fucking go do it.
Right.
And so ended up surprising him at his SQT graduation.
Oh, nice.
I flew
He made
out.
it?
Yeah, he made it through. He got rolled a couple of times for injury and different things. And I mean, he was just crushed. And I was like, dude, listen, guys do it all the time.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about
Just
it.
a little setback.
Just fucking suck it up. Keep moving. You know, you're not going to be like me and make it all the way through the first time, but you know, it's okay. You know? You know, it's like, hey, a lot of people take 8 years to become,
Yeah, they're called doctors.
they're called doctors. But no, he made it through, and it was funny. I had it all set up. I got in touch with one of the guys in his class, and was just like, hey, can you? So anyway, because of COVID last year and all that stuff, they didn't have like a big ceremony and all, so. Pulled up and he was just
lame.
Like, yeah, he was like, fucking, this is so awesome.
Did you pin him?
So they had already pinned him, but yeah, and so it's just cool. Like you said, you know, seeing the guy, he's at, Team 4, you know, and stuff. So it's cool to see, you know, him go in. I was trying to get him in, my troop, 2 troop, but he went into another one. So it all worked out. So
very cool. So we'll transition now out of buds.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so you graduate buds class
258. Yeah,
258, and it's coming up on your centennial class.
Yep.
What class are they on right now?
So they just finished 3, 4, like 5 just graduated SQT, and I think that just kind of looking at it, I think later next year. 358 will be going through. Are
you going to try to go out for your centennial?
Yeah,
class?
so we were talking go out there for Hell Week probably, and then go back out there for graduation.
SQT,
so or something, just to see everybody.
They just tore down the grinder, right?
Yeah, they did. They moved everything to the elephant cages. So everything's down there now. The whole compound's down there. Everything.
Fucking whack.
Yeah, but
that sucks, man. There's a lot of history.
Yeah, who knows why, other than, I mean, you know, I know that a lot of those places needed to be, you know, really updated. So, you know, hopefully they get better state of the art stuff. I know that they're building a new dive tank or
dive tower
pool and stuff like that. So where the dive tower was, they tore that down and put a new pool. So that will be where, instead of having to run over to the other pool, they'll be able to have their own.
It gets weaker and
weaker. So
that's funny. So you graduated 258, and then you went where?
Team 4. Yeah,
Team
first.
4?
So went straight to Team 4. And actually, my business partner Zach, he and I were same Buds class. We went through Buds together, SQT together. He was Academy guy, and so transition. We flying up from San Diego to Alaska during SQT, we had this idea for a new cargo net system, and we're sitting there. We just, all these SQT students, just trying to build a pallet.
Yeah,
and we're like, what the fuck? Why is it taking this long to figure this thing out? And so
those are serious fucking pains in the asses. You would think like simple concept, just literally building a pallet. There are these metal pallets that you put gear on, and then you take a fucking just a nylon net, and it's got clips on the ends of the net, and there's clips on the edge of the pallet. And you just literally, simple concept, just put your gear, put the net over, clip it in. You would think that would be a pretty simple task, and I'm talking you have 50 guys surrounding this, all like getting frustrated and pissed off, and it's a fucking pain in the ass.
What's funny is, so come to find out, like, so when we were flying up to Alaska, so that 8-hour flight, we sat there in the back of the C-130, and we were yelling and screaming at each other about, because we're staring right at the pallet, how to make a better cargo net system. So we started off with the idea, and so that was kind of the early phase of Matbach. We didn't have a name for it, anything yet, and we were just like, well, let's go patent it. So like I reached out to a couple of my professors. He reached out to a couple of his professors, trying to get an idea of like, how do you even patent something? How do you build something? And so that was 2006. And then we like kind of just trying to figure things out until 2010 when we actually formed Matbach. And even after that, it was, now we got to find a company to make these things, because everyone we talked to was just like, you got to just go build it. You just got to go do it. Like, no one's going to see your idea. We tried to sell it to the company that makes the cargo net systems, and come to find out, they have been making that same net since World War II.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, and that was basically the exact thing that they told us. Like, no one has complained about these cargo nets. And I was like, well, you're not listening to the fucking customer, because I can tell you, everybody that's ever used your cargo net system fucking hates it. Like, but to their point, no one's writing up an ODR or an operational deficiency report or a complaint about the cargo net system, right? They're just going to say, fuck it. And it just sucks.
Once they get it done, it's just like, fuck, finally.
Yeah, but even the load masters and those guys, they don't care about it. They want everybody wants their personal gear. They want this stuff. They want new airframes. They don't care about something like that. So that was a resistance that we kept running into that. And then, like I said, all we had was this idea that we were trying to sell. And so we built a cargo net system, and completely redid it so that it was one net. You put on top, you strap it down. It has ratchet straps and everything else. It has exactly what side you need to go on, because as you know, there's a long side and a short side of the pallet. So like it's identified on the bag. You can rotate it, put it on, and it worked. Funny story, in 11 years in business, we've sold like 2 of them. It's been our worst selling product. It's been like a huge failure in terms of...
I'll buy one.
Yeah. $3,000.
Never mind.
Yeah. Hey, you heard it, guys. Mitch said he was going to buy one. You're the great guy, Mitch. Like, you're awesome.
Damn it.
Then we'll sell 3.
I also have a cargo net for sale.
Put it up on your website.
Yeah, $2,900.
But yeah, so, like I said, that has been our biggest, I hate to say failure, because it's created so much from that, but it's definitely not been a success.
Yeah. But it's funny that's what got you started.
Yeah, but it's what got us started. And so we just kind of kept talking about this idea of, creating new products that we could sell to the government. And then, we started deploying. We started, we were both at Team 4 together. Like I said, that, and because it wasn't until 2010 did we start the company. It wasn't until 2000. 2013. I think at late 2012, early 2013, did we actually have our first product on the market for a Matbox. So it just took a long time from 06 to really 2013 to kind of get that. But since that time, we've brought almost 300 products to the market, and they're all, in our mind, innovative. They're taking something that we saw as broken or see or hear from other guys on the ground to say, man, like, why can't we have this? And we're like, well, you can't hear this, and we create that new product. And so that's,
you guys were kind of like Dev Group, but like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just in the creation side, like developing gear, that's a part of development group's job is to do what you're doing with Matbox.
Yeah, like I said, we saw, when we were hot and heavy, Iraq, Afghanistan, early in the teams, we saw all these companies coming out with the same shit that everyone else was doing. It was like, hey, here's a plate carrier. It's like, oh, well, you can get that plate carrier from 15 different companies. Or like, there was no innovation to things. Mm-hmm. It was always just copycats.
Right.
And so that's why we really set out to be like, okay, we're going to be different. Right. And we've been burned a couple of times with stuff where like we thought it was, one particular story that, LBT here locally, London Bridge, had this handheld GPS device, and no one, like, we looked on their website, then we've like asked other people, like, and we thought it was something that was innovative for us. It was like, oh, cool, like, let's develop this so you can wear your watch still, but you could have your handheld Fortrex or whatever, and put it here like you would your altimeter for jumping. Mm-hmm. And so we made a couple, and then we posted it up on a big, it's called Soldier Systems, a big military like forum. And immediately people were like, oh, LBT has been making that for years. And we're like, we refunded everybody's money. And we're like, hey, sorry, took it down, wrote up a whole nother article afterwards. Like, hey, listen, we're not in the business of doing what everyone else is doing. And they were like, you don't have to, it's not patented. And I was like, no, that's not our fucking motto. Like, that's not what we're doing. We're trying to innovate here, and we're not trying to do what everyone else is doing. And so, we got some hate from it. We also got a lot of people that, are still with us today buying our products because they respect us standing on that value. And so we still, to this day, like, it's like if we think we tried really hard to create something new, but if someone else is already doing it, we're like, no, we'll find another way to develop a better product for that. So
how many of your products do you think the Taliban now have? Thanks to Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, interesting story. Like one of our best-selling products is our Tarsier Eclipse. It's a night vision goggle accessory you put on the end of your device, your NVGs, and now you can see anything from 3 inches in front of your face out to infinity without having to adjust them like we would do where we poke holes. And this device, though, allows for low light situations. You can open up the aperture to let more light in. And immediately when we saw, them acquire, whatever it was, like 80,000 pairs of NVGs, we're like, fuck, I bet you there's a bunch of them with Tarsiers on there.
Thanks,
too.
Sean.
Yeah, like, sweet. Yeah. But hopefully not. But you never know. So
Matbox, I'm assuming, is half of your last name and half of his last name?
Yeah. So my last name is Matson, his last name is Steinbach. So when we were coming up with a name, we're like, what do we call it? We're just like, well, just name it Matbox. So then it just stuck. And like I said, in the industry, we've really been known to create these innovative products and stuff. And we've been able to hire, we've almost got 40 employees now in Matbox. Most of them are in the production side of things. So we have, laser cutter operators, raw cutting, sewing, a couple shipping, and
where's Matbox headquarters?
Just near Oceana Airport now. So we just moved over to a new 24,000 square foot building.
I don't think I've seen it because when you were with Strike Force and you had that headquarters, there was a little bit of Matbox stuff in the back.
Yeah,
but
so that was So we finally moved out of that place, and we were looking for almost 3 years trying to find a place here in Hampton Roads, and just couldn't find what we needed. The flow, and even if we did find something, the city wouldn't help us with anything. So finally, we found this building. The owner of the building, we're in the process of buying it from him right now, but the owner of the building was like, hey, listen, like, I love what you guys are doing. You know, why don't we do a lease to buy? You know, get you guys in here. You know, I'll help you with the build out. Let's do this, and then we'll put it in the price of of buying the whole building. And we're like, this is a perfect partner that we need for this. So he stepped in, and we moved in early this year into that facility. So it's only like it's only increased our capacity, and now we're not afraid of like larger orders. Like we were starting to get some orders, and we were just like, it's gonna fucking crush us. Like we have no way of. I mean, you saw us. I mean, we were in a 4,000 square foot place. Like there's no way we're producing, you know, the products that we needed to. Now we also rely on OEM manufacturers. So different. There's a company in Chicago that we work with, and they're all made in America. Everything we do has to be sourced and produced here in the United States. So now there are some, especially in the soft goods side. So there's a couple components that we'll get from Germany for things, but that's just because you can't get them here in the United States. Like there's no, like we've tried dental manufacturers, we've tried like real high-end manufacturers, and it's just like 30 times the cost. And it's like, well, these guys in Germany, but because we have trade deals and other things like that with some of these countries, you can get them. But yeah, like 99.9% of the stuff we make is 100% sold or sourced here in America or made here in America. So
nice.
Yeah, that's always been a big thing for Matlock that we're, you know, pretty proud of, but also we have to because of the government contracts and stuff. So,
right.
But then, well, I guess transition to
you
us
were,
meeting.
Well, yeah, we'll get there. So you were in the SEAL teams for 12 years. You got out at 12 years, which
13.
Oh, 13. Yeah. Not a lot of people would do that. I think most people at that point would probably just ride it out and get the old retirement. But so at that point, like what was your deciding factor to get out? Like, was Matt Bach taking off, or, you know, just kind of a mix of things, or what?
Well, so I did 13, but you know, the first 10 were active and the other 3 were reserves. So I was in the reserves, and I just saw, like, I thought the reserves were going to be a completely different. And it was just, it wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy going there on the weekends, and I just felt like, I only get my kids every other weekend, and then the one weekend, like, so now I only have really one weekend with my wife and everything like that. It's like, in a month, I was like, this one weekend that I'm here doing this drill, all we did was just sit around, and I'm like, this is dumb, dude. Like, and I'm wasting so much time, and my value that I could be putting into something else is not worth it. And so I just like, I got to get done. I got to get out of this.
Yeah. They were trying to get me to stay in the reserve so bad. Like a couple guys were, and I was like, you know, yeah, it sounds like a pretty sweet gig, you know, like pretty sweet deal. And I'm like, but I'm really fucking sick and tired of not having freedom, like my total freedom. Yeah. I'm like, and they're like, well, you know, you could work it out to where you just come in, you know, and get all of your time done at once, you know, on one trip or whatever. And that could be your whole time for the whole year, basically, you know. And like they do a bunch of awesome deals for guys like that.
They do.
And I'm like, would I have to shave?
Yeah.
On that time that I came in? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I've heard enough.
Yeah.
No thanks.
No thanks. Yeah. I mean, like, I would say, I mean, it is a good transition. But
you and I also had businesses and like shit that we were like itching and ready to like go full on, like, you know, dive head first and like be, you know, engulfed in all this.
Yeah, very much so. And like, like I said, I had the impression that it was going to be more of like the weekend warrior, like, hey, because especially here in Virginia Beach, if I was in like Texas and I was going to get out and go back to Texas or go back to, you know, some other city that wasn't Virginia Beach or San Diego, I probably would have never even thought about going into reserves. But because I was here, I had just assumed that on the weekends, because you
be doing team guy shit.
You have all of the access to everything. Like, hey, we're going to go jump, or hey, we're going to go shoot, or hey, we're going to, you know, like all these things that are already right here. like I just assumed that the you know, they would do that, and it's not. And I was like, I mean, it was like pulling teeth to get people to go to the range and shoot in the reserves. And I was like, nah, like I'm not going to sit here to do 1 hour of NKOs on
and
a
just
weekend and talk shit. Yeah. I was like, oh, or hear someone else's new idea that they got. It's like, dude, just fucking go do it. Like, quit talking about your new idea. Just go fucking do it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of guys too that, you know, their whole identity is being a SEAL, you know, and they really struggle when you take that away from them or whatever. They don't want to let it go because, you know, you feel like you're a part of something, you know, and being a Navy SEAL is kind of like, it's like, well, what's higher than that, you know? And it's like, you know, I think a lot of dudes struggle with that.
They do, no doubt. Like, and I think, I
much like professional athletes.
Hey, and I mean, I'll admit, like, I did for a period, right? Like, I did, like, I like, after leaving active and like no longer getting the text messages from my platoon and like seeing them leave and go on and not.
Oh, like, they didn't care that you left? So you mean that train just kept fucking going? The just train kicked you the fuck out and
you know, like you're no longer getting invited to these things. Like, and so like there was a period where it's like, man, it kind of sucks. Like, you know, but to your point, right? I already had all this other stuff. Like I do like it being here in Virginia Beach still, where like, you know, I still reach out to guys like, hey, let's go grab lunch or let's go.
Yeah, you're not totally removed.
But I'm not totally removed, but I'm also like, I've understood that like, and I've had to realize like, hey, it's a good thing that train keeps moving, right? Like if I got off and it was like the train just fucking hit a wall, like, oh fuck, like, you know, but thankfully that it doesn't do that, you know, I think. And
well, there's also like you come to realize when you get out, and you don't really realize it when you're in, but when you get out, you realize that there's two brotherhoods.
Yep.
There's a brotherhood, sort of, while you're in, you know, and I use that term loosely because it's just everybody's in, you're on the train's moving, and you're a part of it, and, you know, you're just a part of that whole thing. And that's a brotherhood, quote unquote. And then when you get out of the SEAL teams, you know, that train fucking keeps going and it doesn't look back.
Yep.
And, you know, you are out here on the outside and you were a part of that train, and it's like, you know, it was a huge part of your life, and it helps forge you into who you are at that point. And, you know, that train is going and gone, and then you look around and you're like, oh, there's a couple guys that also are off the train, and, you know, we have a common like experience, and, you know what I mean? It's like we can all relate to each other on that level, because when you're on the train, you can't, it's hard to relate to people outside of that train.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's just a weird lifestyle. And it is a lifestyle. It's not like a normal job. You know, it's a lifestyle.
It very much, yeah. I mean, you have to live and breathe every bit of it, right? If you want to, like, I mean, in every role you ever did in a platoon, it's like you have to own it and you have to be the best at it, right? Like, so, like, you like guys that are in charge of ammo or snipers or stuff like that. It's like they live and breathe being a sniper, and they're always talking about guns, and they're always talking like to me, like I was just like, listen, I don't fucking want to talk about, like, yeah, I know how to shoot, yeah, I know this, but like I don't care about that stuff. But to some guys, that's all they want to talk about. It's like, dude, guess what? You're sniper lead. You know, like you're gonna be this guy because like he's always talking about and researching, but that's their lifestyle to that, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
But you know, to your point about like after. And then, you know, I know for us, you know, being entrepreneurs and others, and then there's another group that we have of former SEALs that are entrepreneurs, and we're always looking to try to help each other and come up with different things.
There's a good group of us now, you know, and that's cool because, you know, it's kind of like being a SEAL and going through buds and deploying and all that stuff. It's like you can relate to other SEALs who have gone through buds and deployed and been in the grind of being in a SEAL team, because you understand what that takes, and the sacrifice and the fucking work that it takes, and you know, the level of just hardships that you've had to endure, whatever, like it's relatable. Like I know that so we have that common ground. Same thing when you get out, like especially for entrepreneurs who get out of the SEAL teams, because it's like we have that thing, that common ground and thing of buds in the SEAL teams. But now it's like being an entrepreneur, that's a whole fucking beast in itself as well.
Yep.
So, people who are on that entrepreneurial journey, also have that respect for each other and, damn, I know what you're going through. I've been there, and it's like you want to help each other with lessons learned and stuff like that. And a lot of great, valuable lessons have been taught and instilled in the SEAL teams. And the way they operate, SEALs aren't the best in the world for, or they are the best in the world for good reason, and you can apply a lot of that stuff to running your business, and I
was talking about just that point the other day. I was on a podcast for it's called Failure to Stop for police officers, and they like play a clip of like a SWAT or a police officer and then like dissect it. And so they were just like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And I was like, for us, one thing that I really have taken, and we bring it now to the business side of it, are the after actions. And like every op we ever went on, it was like, hey, check your fucking ego at the door. Listen, we're going to go step by step and we're going to call people out over this shit. Like, hey man, you dropped that fucking threat. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? Or, hey, great job on this. Like, but it, like, some of them got heated and guys would fight. But like, after you left, it was like, now what's on the next thing? Like, it was like
lesson learned,
get it done. Cause that's the only way we're going to get better with stuff, and not just like, hey, high five.
Nobody's coddling your feelings.
Yeah, high five.
Fuck your feelings. Like,
high five. You did a great job. It's like, yeah, there was some of that, but then there was also like, there was sometimes it was like, man, like it was hard to hear the truth. And it was like, I did fuck up, or that guy did fuck up, and they own it.
And right? It's encouraged to call people out. It's encouraged to own your shit. It's encouraged to, fix it or whatever. And, like in the SEAL teams, I'm telling you, you do not want to fuck something up because everybody's going to remind you for the next 20 years that you fucked that thing up one time.
Yeah.
And, and that's just how it is. It's a very high performance, high stress, cutthroat environment, because the lessons learned are written in blood.
Yep.
It's a job that you cannot afford to fuck up. You can't afford to do that kind of shit because people's lives are at stake. And it's very serious, and it holds you to a certain standard, and you don't fucking lower the standard for people to meet it. You either rise to the occasion and meet the standard, or you go away.
Yeah.
It's that simple. It doesn't matter if you've been in for fucking 2 days or 20 years. Like, you can literally get kicked out of the fucking SEAL teams 23 years in. Like, they're like, hey, this ain't for you anymore. Like, you're not reaching the standard. You got to go.
Yeah. And I mean, they would. I mean, and you've seen it. I mean, guys that fuck up enough, and it's just like, hey man, sorry.
We sent like 3 guys home on deployment.
Yeah. Like, I had to fire my chief, at one point. Like, just like
our chief got fired on deployment.
Yeah. And it sucks. I mean, especially when you like, he, 15, 16 years in, and it's like, you just basically gave him a headshot. Like, he's not going to make a senior chief. He's not going to fucking, retire as a master chief. It's like,
we had dudes
you fucking
lose their trident.
Yeah.
Like literally pull your trident, and now you have to go to the fleet, and you've been a SEAL for 17 years. Like, that's going to be a shitty transition.
Oh, yeah.
And not just that, like you get bonuses in the SEAL teams, and like most jobs, but the SEAL teams are the heavy bonuses, because they invest so much into us, and they want to keep us there. So like, when you're especially into the later years, where you're getting for a 4-year reenlistment, you're getting $100,000 tax-free bonus, which to the regular person in the military, that's a fucking life-changing, changing kind of money, like can set you up for a totally different level.
Even just talking the regular, just like jump dive demo pay,
Yeah,
right? Like a
yeah.
couple $100 for each of those
Tax
a
free.
month. Like, I mean,
That adds up.
that's another $1,000-$1,500 a month that you just get.
Oh yeah, SEALs are of some of the highest paid people in the military.
Yeah.
And you know, so
that was also rough when you transition and you're like, fuck, like this business doesn't pay me that.
well, I was always hood rich, man. I lived paycheck to paycheck my entire career. I had never at any point did I have over like $2,500 in my account, zero in savings.
No,
I was just fucking living, you know, just balling.
But
and I was like, hey, I could die at any fucking moment, you know?
Yeah, but then you transition out, right? And you're having a business and you're like, well, shit, like, I was making $100,000 a year. Now the business can't afford that right now. Like, shit, I'm going to make $50,000 this year or something. So I was like, you know, that was a eye-opening experience.
Well, I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Massive's done pretty well.
Yeah.
But no, so but yeah, being in the military, that was a struggle for me. Like I lived paycheck to paycheck the whole time. But where I was going with that is the bonuses, when you get kicked out, you have to fucking pay back your bonus. Like, let's say you signed a 4-year re-enlistment and they gave you $100,000 bonus. That bonus is contingent on like you completing those 4 years.
Yeah.
So if you're, you know, let's say you're only a year into it, and
that money's gone, by the way.
Yeah, that money has already been spent on a lifted truck and, you know, a bunch of drinks and stuff and whatever else bullshit. That money's gone right away. And
you know, an F-250 trimmer package. You know.
And that's a nice truck.
It is a nice truck.
And I got that long after I could afford it. But yeah, so they're like, hey, you know, you got to go. Give us your Trident, and by the way, you owe us $100,000.
Yeah.
So it's, man, I saw that happen to a couple guys, and I just thought, like, my God.
Yeah.
Like that would suck so bad.
Would suck, yeah, definitely.
But it keeps people, you know, to a certain standard, and everybody holds each other accountable, you know, and calls each other out on their shit when they're slipping, whatever. I mean, but that's why they're so successful.
Yeah.
You know, and you can definitely take a lot of that. I know I certainly have, and applied it to my own business. And there's things that obviously I didn't like and, you know, I didn't agree with or whatever, but that's the great thing about owning your own company and being your own CEO. You're the fucking captain.
Yep.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. So you can make it how you want it to be. And, I've certainly done that with Massive. I'm sure you've done it, especially having other SEALs. Yeah. You know, and that's something that I would like to hire, you know, some SEALs, you know, at some point. And the hard thing about when a SEAL transitions like out of the Navy or the SEAL teams, I feel like a lot of them either go on an entrepreneurial route and work for themselves and start their own thing, or a lot of them go to contracting. You know, it's like doing the same shit they were doing in the SEAL teams, but, you know, in the civilian side. Yeah. So, I haven't had really even like a opportunity yet that has presented itself for. Yeah, like,
we've only had one, and that was Jim Foreman.
Who's the fucking man, by the way.
Who's the fucking man. Yeah. Like,
I had the pleasure of, you know, meeting him while I was an instructor, and we got to, you know, interact a few times, and I was just like, man, this dude's on another level.
Most humble dude you'll ever fucking meet in your life, too. Yeah. Like, just like, but I mean,
he's a badass.
He's a badass. Yeah. And we, like, when he came, so he kept hitting us up. He's like, man, I got this idea for a belt. And we're like, listen, like, I appreciate it, but we've seen every fucking belt. Like, that's not innovative to us. Like, that everybody knows, everyone has their own kind of belt or, you know, thing. And it's just like, it's not something that we want to bring, like slings and belts. Like, I feel like I've seen every kind of belt. Like, some people would be like, look, I changed the buckle. And like, that's not innovative to us. Like, that's just changing a fucking buckle. And, but Jim was like, you know, let me show you. So we're finally, like, Zach and I are like, all right, come on, you know, we'll see your belt. I'm like, but listen, like, we're probably not going to be interested. And so he comes in, shows us his belt. And I was like, all right, I'll eat my fucking words. Like, this is a great fucking idea. Like, we need to bring this to market because it integrated the belt with the lanyard, and the way he had it already rigged in, you could change it out. And so it just made sense. Like, rather than having two pieces of kit, now I could have one. And I like that, just streamline or like.
So he built it himself and showed it to you, kind of like what everyone was telling you to do with the net.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was another thing, right? It was like, that's what we want to see. Like, and when guys bring us idea, if they just kind of write something on a napkin and we're like, hey, like, build a prototype. I don't care if it's made out of paper mache and duct tape. Just go build something
in your hands.
I want to see it. But also it's for us. It is the number one way to weed out see how passionate someone is about it. Because if they're not willing to do it, then I'm not willing to put my time and effort or put our team's time and effort into building your idea, right? Like, if you're willing to help us, like, then we'll do it. But like, you got to show something for it, right? Not just, hey, go create my idea. It's like,
right.
So, but he had it, and we're like, okay, I'll eat our words. Like, this is a great idea. Like, this definitely needs to be something that we bring to the market. And he was right in his transitioning. He was already kind of over trade at now at this point. And so he was getting ready to get out, and we were like, hey, like, what are you looking to do? And he was like, well, Damnex offered me a job, so I'm probably just going to go back there and work. And we're like, we want to hire you. And like, I tell you, there was nothing what he was making or could have made over at Damnex, but we were like, we'll hire you, and we want you to run sales and product development and kind of progress from there. And he was like, okay. And we were like, fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I just man. Like, all right. But I mean, like,
dude, just a level of fucking like human, you know what I mean? Like, there's levels to everything. Being a human is one of them. Yeah. He's on a different level for sure. And, his value is humongous.
Especially
in that area, like Matbach, like, I mean, he's a wealth of experience. And
totally. And credibility, everything. I mean, just what he brings to the table is invaluable for us. And so, but funny, not a funny story, but just to show you the type of human he is. This was a couple years ago. We were filming and doing like we did like a monster mash with a couple Marines. And it initially was just going to be me and the Marine, and we were going to do the monster mash, and it was like, kind of who could do it better type thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then they were like, hey, we're bringing another guy. Can you bring another guy? And I was like, we're doing this tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and it's a Thursday before, I think, like Thanksgiving, whatever it was. It was some holiday going on. But I called Jim. I was like, hey, man, what are you doing tomorrow morning? He was like, what do you need? And I was like, you want to come do a monster mash with me? He's like, I'll be there. Like, without question, this is like less than 12-hour notice. And he was like, yeah, I'll be there. And he and I crushed the two Marines. So nice. It was like, but like, that's just the type of human he is. He's like, I'll drop everything to, what do you need? I got you. And I couldn't ask for a better, team member for us on Matbach. I mean, just again, the credibility and everything that he's done aside, he's just a good human, and he's always thinking about how to better us and our company.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. Yeah, and like that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like with hiring SEALs, like it's like you obviously know their worth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like we're not the government, we're not fucking government funded. We can't pay you probably what you could go make somewhere else.
Yeah.
But, and it's like, I hope to get someone someday that has like a bigger passion, or, you know what I mean? It's like some of the people here, it's like, I can't pay you probably what you want to ideally be making at this moment, but it's like you got to look at this like an investment, because the trajectory that we're on, it's like if you get on board now, it's like it's going to be
I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah, it's going to pay dividends later.
Yeah, no, we're the same way, and we tried to do like little things for our employees too, like just to show. And I know you do the same thing, you take them to lunch and other things, but like just these random acts of kindness that you will just like randomly throw in, or like last year when like they were talking about a huge meat shortage and stuff like that. So we went to a couple of local butchers, got a freezer at our warehouse, and just loaded up with meat and stuff like that. And it was like, hey, this is just for employees. Like if you have,
up for grabs.
Like if you guys are running out of something, like go grab it, no charge, it's free, just like beef, whatever. And so we
told your employees to grab your meat.
Yeah. Yeah. But we were
dangerous.
Hey, that's why there was a shortage. We were hoarding it all. And then we were selling it on the black market for triple the price.
Gotcha.
So that's, we give it away to their employees, but sell it on the black market for triple. So it actually made us money. No. But things like that, just how to show them that you appreciate what they do. And like, I know, like, especially for us on like sewing and some of these things that are just like intangible skills that these people know how to do, like all day long. Like we need to find more people that know how to sew, because those are jobs you can't automate. Like that's something you can't put a machine in there and do 100% of what we need to do. And there are people that just don't want to do that type of work because it's physical labor, moving product around. Yeah, you're sitting at a sewing machine, but like they're putting out all day long, moving and sewing, and it's not good. Like, clicking a couple buttons on a computer type job. So like we appreciate the shit out of what they do for us, because like without them, there would be no company,
right. Yeah.
Because you have to be made here in the United States and it has to be sewn. And so it's like, it's all handmade stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Good times.
So that's one of your companies, Matt Bach.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, so we'll get into, I guess, now how we met.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was still in the SEAL teams. I was sort of getting ready to, or I was thinking about getting out because I was fighting a lot and was, had quite a bit of success with my fighting, was getting a lot of attention from different sponsors and this and that, and I had just made my Instagram as a way to give back to my sponsors and stuff like that. And I think at the time I maybe had like 5,000 followers or something, and I had my first sponsor, I guess, was one of my first sponsors was this other SEAL, and all of them were essentially SEAL-owned businesses. And one of them owned a T-shirt printing thing, and I had made my fight shirts with the Smashing Frog on them. I'm embarrassed to tell the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But
if you're not going to tell it, I'm going to tell it.
No, yeah. But
that's why I'm here.
So I had these fight shirts made, and I was the Smashing Frog. I might have even been the Scrapping Frog at that time, because that was Bobby Richardson's thing. Yeah. Bobby Richardson was a former SEAL, 27-year fucking damn that guy, whatever. And he owned this T-shirt printing shop, and he was the one that gave me like the name Scrapping Frog or whatever. It was this little character he made, and he was like, "Oh, you're the Scrapping Frog," and I was like, "Okay, whatever."
Sure.
So, yeah, and so he made these shirts for me, and it was my character on the shirt, and then a American flag hanging vertically, and the stars. The stars were on the right. So if you imagine looking at just an American flag and then rotating it clockwise, 1/4 turn, so it's vertical, seemed like logical to me.
Yeah.
And Bobby, by the way. So there's two SEALs here like designing this shirt, and we're like, that looks cool.
Perfect.
Print 150 of them, whatever. So I make these shirts, right? And people on Instagram, like I said, I think I had 5,000 followers at the time, which, by the way, was fucking crazy to me because I had not had social media. I hated social media. I got a social media just for like the fighting and the sponsors and stuff like that. And I had random people hitting me up asking for shirts and this and that, and which I thought was cool and everything like that. I had people reaching out to me wanting to sponsor me, etc. And then
you had some asshole.
I had some asshole slide in my DMs, and he was like, "Hey, bro, your flag's wrong on your shirt." And I was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" I'm like looking at him like, the fuck do you mean my flag's wrong? I was like, it's an American flag. Fucking, I was like, hey, dude, just look at an American flag, turn it fucking clockwise, a quarter turn, and tell me if that's wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, bro, it's wrong. And I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking Navy SEAL. I think I would know, like, if the American flag was wrong. And he goes, bro, I'm a Navy SEAL too. And I'm telling you, the fucking flag's wrong. Most Navy SEAls don't even know it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're like, dude, just look it up on Google. And I looked it up and I was like, oh my God. Fuck. Damn it. He's right.
Who made these stupid shirts?
Fuck. I already printed like 150 of these.
Yeah.
And I fucking called Bobby. I'm like, bro, did you know these fucking flags are wrong? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm a Navy SEAL.
Same story.
Yeah.
Same story.
I'm a Navy SEAL, 27 years, damn neck. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I guess when the flag is vertical, the stars are supposed to be on the left, which, didn't make sense to me because I'm like, you just turned it and that's how it is. But you have to flip it and the stars are supposed to be on the left when the flag is hung vertically.
Yep.
I had no idea. and then once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like
it's a pet peeve now.
Yeah, it's like taking the red pill in the Matrix. There's just no going back. And
never.
And I was so fucking embarrassed and irritated after that because I couldn't unsee it. And I just hated the fact that there was 150 of these shirts out there that people were wearing with my name on it and the flag is wrong. And I'm like, I'm a Navy SEAL and I just put out this wrong flag and I feel like such an idiot.
Dude, I was on
and that's how we met. And, and it was funny too because before you even said that, I was like what did I say? I was like, look, I'm not interested unless you're trying to sponsor me or something. I was like leave me alone. I was kind of a dick. And you were like,
weird.
You were like,
nothing's changed.
You were like, I do want to sponsor you.
Yeah.
But
just print the shirt right.
But the flag is wrong. I can't sponsor you with that flag like that. And I was like, fuck.
Damn it.
And so then we ended up fixing the flag. It became a new pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
And then you ended up sponsoring me.
Yeah.
So it was a hilarious story of how we met. And
initially it was, on, I think that first run we did the Matbach, right? And then we started Strikeforce shortly after that first couple runs of shirts, and we switched it over, sponsor, and Strikeforce would sponsor. Yeah,
you had just started Strikeforce, and I was fighting MMA, and you had just launched Strikeforce, and I was using my original concoction of greens, and this was before the smashing greens was a thing or anything like that.
It was when it was like
Massive wasn't even a thing.
No, it was all your different. You had it all in separate tubs,
all in separate containers, all different products, and I just mixed them all together, and they tasted like shit.
Yeah.
And Strikeforce was what I used, because you guys were sponsoring me all of a sudden, and I was like, well, I've got this stuff that I can mix into it, and it masked the flavor pretty well.
Yeah.
And and you guys were sponsoring me, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then just worked out that way. And now fast forward, obviously, the Smashing Greens are a product on its own. It's way, way better. It tastes amazing, by itself. I like to add massive energy to it. I've never heard of Strikeforce, but so that was how we met, and then obviously we linked up, and found out you were a SEAL, found out you're now an entrepreneur and stuff like that, and I wasn't really thinking about getting out and being an entrepreneur, but I was considering getting out and fighting.
Yeah.
And then I launched my t-shirt business originally, Massive Apparel.
Yep.
And then, we started sort of talking more about business stuff and kind of bonding on that level, the entrepreneurial route and all that stuff. And then, since then we've helped each other out a lot, I would say, like had a lot of conversations. I don't know if I've really helped you out at all.
Yeah, no, you have, dude. I mean, seriously.
I've promoted your stuff a lot, but...
I mean, No, and I think, you know, like where, like we've talked about, like with marketing and other stuff like that, that just like, I'm still amazed that like you haven't or don't do paid marketing. Like the fact that you haven't done any of that yet is still mind blowing to me. Like, and the thing is it once you do it, the fear would be you sell out of all your stuff.
Well, that's why I don't.
I know.
I have to constantly hover with my foot over the brake because we sell out a fucking product so fast that, like, you know, even when I'm like, all right, we're going to order this much and we're going to assume that we're going to grow this much. We grow faster. We sell more than we think. And then the manufacturing always fucking takes way longer than, you know, Massive Energy was supposed to be out in January. We just released it last week.
Hey,
it's October, but
you got it.
Hey, it's here now.
It's here now.
It's here now. But that's what also I've learned is to not tell my following that I'm releasing something
pre-sale,
because then I get asked about it fucking every fucking day, and it adds an extra layer of stress and annoyance to me that I'm already dealing with, like stress and annoyance that it's not on schedule or whatever. But yeah, anyway.
Well, and customers, right? Like they always want what you don't have, right? So like as soon as you hint like, oh yeah, we're coming out with a new flavor, that's all it's in their mind is like a new flavor. Now, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, right? Because like, you know, they're going to buy the new flavor
once it drops.
But then it's also a bad thing because that's all they talk about now. It's like, when are you going to drop that new flavor? When are you going to drop the new flavor? It's like, listen, this is what we got. And same thing, you know, it's just like that expectation management piece of it. It's just like, you know, like there are some of like our VIPs and stuff like that are in like a closed Facebook group that we have. Like we'll tell them about some of that stuff. Same. Right. But like to the masses, oh hell no.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just like, it's not, because those people understand and they get it. Like, hey, we're working it, it's coming. But like, they're not sitting there hitting you up every week saying, hey, you said it was going to be this week. Hey, you said it was going to be this week.
Understand.
They get it. Right. And like, but you know, it's, and in the last, like I know for right now, like, and we've talked, like, I mean, the way lead times are, it's 12 weeks for stuff.
Minimum.
It just kills you.
12 to 16 weeks. And, you know, it's like, oh, okay, 12, 16 weeks. But then when you think about it, you're like, that's 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. And you're having to just guess what you need for 12 to 16 weeks out. And then it's like, oh, hey, we got it.
And that's if everything goes smoothly, which never does.
Never does.
Yeah, no. Spoiler alert, it doesn't ever go smoothly. And yeah, so that's why, like, honestly, trust me, I would love to advertise and, you know, take Massive to $100 million in sales. The problem is if I fucking advertise at all right now, you know, we're having a hard time keeping up with just word of mouth. Like we're constantly selling out a product, and that's stressful.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I don't want a shitload of people coming to the website and everything sold out all the time, because we've all been to those websites, and, you know, you get annoyed.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, what the fuck? Why don't you ever have anything?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, how do you guys stay in business?
Well, and that's why, I mean, you see, like, I know Redcon 1, like those guys just took in a huge, or I saw it on the news or something. They took in a huge, like, private equity, you know, investment, but they only gave up, you know, 15, 20% of the company. But it was because when you start looking at what they were doing, you know, buying $2 million worth of inventory to go sell to GNC, right? It's like, fuck, like, I want someone else to pay for that, you know?
Well, that's where I'm at, you know, that's where I'm at. And like, we not only have we not advertised, we also have never taken a loan from the bank or anything. Everything I've done through Massive, I've purchased cash, and, you know, with the product that I sell, I get that money and I invest it right back in the company. But now, like, because the purchase orders are getting so fucking huge, like, and with supplements, you know, especially with our manufacturing, we've had manufacturing issues with people, like, you know, we have shit that a purchase order that we've already paid 50% of when I say 50% of these purchase orders, it's, you could buy a house with that. And like, we gave them that money, you know, and we're told 12 weeks, and they were due 10 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm without that capital and without that money. And then when I receive that product, I don't have terms.
Yeah.
So I have to also give another 50%, the other 50% down to then receive that product.
Yep.
And then I start getting it trickling back in $100 at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and by this time, like, we're fucking sold out of everything. So it's like, when we get it, people fucking just burn right through it. And then it's like, we're in this constant like slinky, you know, and I'm trying to get to where I was like, okay, so I'm fucking leaving this manufacturer, but then and diversifying my manufacturers. So, so that I don't have just one fucking person I'm relying on. But now when I have 4 different manufacturers and I'm going to all of these people at the same time, when you go to a new manufacturer, there's a fuckload of time that it's just development, like signing NDAs, building samples, doing all this shit behind the scenes, and it takes forever.
Getting the raw ingredients to them so they can try to, you know, get it in their process.
And then when you do that, now you can start the waiting game of putting in a PO and then, you know, 12 weeks from here, 16 weeks from here. And again, you don't have any terms with them because they're a new manufacturer. You don't have any credit with them. So 50% down and 50% on arrival, blah, blah, blah. So it's just hard. And especially when we're at the level we're at, it's like we have to put in $1 million worth of fucking product. You know what I mean? And that's hard to do cash with no... You know what I mean? Like, and you also have your operating expenses and all this shit. So,
you know, and you know,
growing pains,
you know, and like, I know I've talked to other guys about this, like the fact that, you know, for example, you were talking about how you've never taken a bank loan and things like that. Right. But like you talk about a kid that comes out of college or high school, 18-year-old kid can go literally sign his name, have no assets to his name whatsoever, and get $200,000 for college, right? When you're a small business owner, even if you went to go to the bank right now to go give it, you'd literally have to give them your left nut to show that you could pay for a $200,000 bank loan. And it's like, wait, we're making millions of dollars in revenue. We can easily cover this. I have this in my bank account now. I just need it for purchase orders. I need it for financing for this. That to me blows my mind in the banking system and just how fucked up the government and just the mentality is for people. It's like, yes, small businesses can fail and small businesses fail all the time. But look at how many kids never graduate, or look how many kids go to college, graduate, but then end up doing nothing with their degree. Just an
expensive piece of paper.
Right? And then spend 15 years paying back that college
and it's
education.
like, I could pay this back in a couple months. You know, this is just a something to boost me up right now, you know, free up this capital.
I wish there was a way that, and I know as soon as you put it in the U.S. government, they'd figure a way to fuck this up, but I wish there was a way that if you're coming out of high school and you want to go become an entrepreneur, like it was as easy as getting a student loan, right? And it's like, hey, me and you are going to go start something, right? And maybe there's stipulations in it. It's like, hey, one of you has to be part-time school. Fine, whatever that looks like, but you're going to get $200,000 to go start a business. Now you've started something while you're going to college, and then you flip-flop or however that works out. But like, I could only imagine what the world would look like if that actually was something written rather than it just like, hey, here's free education. Here's this. And it's like, no, like that, it's not free. It's going to cost money. And by the way, you're going to go get a degree in history, and then you're going to go work at McDonald's because you have a history degree and it's fucking useless. Yeah. You know, it's like that shit just blows my mind.
It is, it's not surprising to me that most businesses fail within 5 years, though. Yeah. I mean, we've had unbelievable success, you know, and I'm super grateful for that. But holy fuck, it's been a struggle. Yeah. Like we've come like real fucking close to crashing and you know, pulled up. But and like I said, we're probably in a much better position than most. You know, we've been profitable since day one. Like most businesses aren't that. And I'm telling you right now, like if I hadn't been through the amount of adversity and like shit that I've been through in BUDS, SEAL teams, Afghanistan, all that shit, like I would have quit, like, cause this is fucking crazy stressful. And you know, it's just nonstop fucking problems.
Always. But I think
super rewarding though too.
Very. And I think that is the number one reason why veterans, not just SEALs or SF or Delta or any of these guys, like I think veterans and as a whole do much better in business than their average civilian, right? Just because. And
you also are like, in the military teaches you, like, they don't give a fuck about your feelings. It's just, you got to get this done. The objective is this.
And it's kind of interesting. You know, you were talking earlier about how, you know, with the government, like, you know, they can just print money and just make it happen, right? You know, and some degree in the military, it's like, you know, but also, how many times did you go out and do something where they were just like, listen, here it is, you know, you're going to go against 200 people and you got 5 guys, go figure it out. You know, it's like, that's what they expect from you. And so you're always constantly you're always in this mindset of doing more with less and not having all the resources that you need to go do it. And they ask you to be creative to figure this shit out. And like you said, there's always problems to stuff. So
well, I think with the mindset of SEALs too, especially, it's because, you know, failure is not an option. Quitting is not an option. It's just, you know, get it done. Like, I don't care how you do it. You just got to fucking get it done. And like, that mindset is ingrained in me.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you constantly, undoubtedly run into problems. And it's just like, you know, there's always a solution. It might not be an ideal one. You know, it's just like in the SEAL team on operations, sometimes it's like, this is the only fucking way we got to do, or, you know, yes, we're going to get wet. We're going to get cold. It's going to fucking suck. Like, but you just got to fucking roger up and go, you know?
Even as something like as simple, like with one of the companies that we're still in the development phase, we're doing a medical device right now. And so we're pushing out some research that we just got finished getting funded by the government, and we're pushing it out. But it's a device that will hopefully change the battlefield. And some of the leading indicators right now, I mean, it's going to save guys' lives for what it can do for healing a battle wound, disinfecting and decontaminating and stuff. And so, like, we've gone round and around and around on this deck to go send to investors, or hopefully someone that wants to just buy the whole fucking thing and take it and turn it into $1 billion company. But like, we've gone round and round and round on this deck, and I'm just like, all right, guys, listen, enough. Like, let's just fucking put it out there. Like, it's as good as we're going to get it. Like, and then let them tell us, like, hey, you need to adjust this. There's too many words. You know, it's like, we want to see more of this in there, and then we'll modify it as it goes. But like, if we're just going to sit here and keep trying to perfect it, it's never going to get the perfection. We know that. And we're just going to spend another 3 weeks or a month or 2 months trying to perfect it when it's like, it's good, right? It might not be great right now, but it's good. Let's just go get it out there and see what the market tells us about the rest of it, right? And then we can make those finer adjustments.
Oh, dude, I do that all the time with shit. I'm just like, put it out there, or I try things. I'm like, I don't know perfectly how this is going to go or whatever, but I'm just like, I'll figure it out as I go. I'll learn lessons as I go and adjust on the fly. And, you know, it's better to me to be making progress.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And like taking action instead of sitting on the sidelines planning out the perfect plan and, you know, never executing or fucking taking a year to execute. I'm the type, I'm Wreck-It Ralph. I'm just fucking Leroy Jenkins, and we're going to figure it out.
Action beats inaction 100% of the time.
Yeah.
You know, it does. And it's like,
take that leap of faith, you know?
You know, people say like, hey, hey, I want to go start a business. Well, fucking go start it. Hey, I want to go to BUDS. Go fucking go to BUDS. You know, just go do it. Like,
yeah, I've always been that type. Like anything that I want to do, you know, even setting up this podcast. Like, you know, I don't fucking know the first thing about podcasting or whatever, but I've done a couple, and you know, and I'm like, I think this would be fun, whatever, and I'm like, can't be that hard. I mean, people fucking do it. Like people, and that's always been something that.
Hey, and let me tell you, you've done a great job.
Oh, thank you.
This is good.
Appreciate that.
Best podcast I've done today.
Awesome. Hell yeah. But like, you know, that's something that has kind of always got me through things. I'm like, lesser men than you have done this before, like, so they're not any better than you or whatever. Yeah. Like when they were going through, they probably didn't fucking know either. You know what I mean? It's just experience is often gained right after you need it.
Yep.
But just get on there and get to it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Definitely. But we're definitely going to try to get a business loan here soon and take Massive to the next level. Yeah. The problem right now is like that we're going to be facing with the banks or whatever is like, fuck, we just had literally 5 months of record sales, and because of that we sold out of product. Yep. And because all this bullshit, now our sales are going like look like this, like woo boo, and it's like, well, what's this? So are you guys failing as a company? It's like, no, bitch, we need money to put in fucking insane amounts of orders for products because we have insane desire for it.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is
we can advertise finally.
The good thing is you've got a few years of experience too and track record that you can show them. And
have you gotten a business loan before?
Yeah. We've actually taken on investors. And so we took an investor.
You want to invest in Massive?
Maybe.
Just kidding.
We took an investor in our holding company, Mapbach Origins. So Mapbach Origins owns our operating company, Mapbach, and a couple of the other entities like that. And we took an investor in there primarily because he understood manufacturing at the technical level that we needed. And we also knew that he could help us finance some of these like longer things, like, some of our minimums for the material that Zach helped develop, because our material that we use is not what everybody else is using. And even though we make a plate carrier, the plate carrier is completely different because of the material that we helped develop. But it's 20 to 30 weeks lead times. And like you said, a purchase order for a minimum of one of our rolls is you're buying a fucking house. It's like we needed that extra capital to help because Mapbach wasn't at the level at the time to be able to finance those. And now it's just gotten worse because it's like, oh, great, we got a $3 million order. And I was like, fuck, I've got $2 million worth of material coming in. It's like, sweet, I'm going to need some help financing that, know. And just the way the government buying cycle works. I mean, it's just, there's so many, you never know. And that's what's scary with like, especially with Mapbach, it's like, you can't predict what you're going to get each month. With Massive or even Cardomax, you could kind of predict what your next month is going to look like and what you're kind of burn and just what you expect. But like Mapbach, it's like, it's oh, good, we made our goal, but it's like there's no way to know. Like 1 month you could do $1 million and the next month you could do 50,000. And you're just like, okay, here we go. Nice. But your expenses are the same each month. So, we constantly have to balance that. Yeah. So we took on an investor and he's been phenomenal for us. He actually helped us see around some corners late 2019 into 20, and then which helped set us up for where we're at today with hiring a GM now to really run all of our manufacturing and the control measures that he's been able to put in place and just really help professionalize and grow us, because like I know how to lead someone and I know how to solve problems, but I don't understand manufacturing like that. And I don't understand some of that, nor did I want to go try to learn it. And then it's like, I need someone that knows now at this level, like you can take Mapbach from, where we're at today further and we can do it with making a lot more money because of just the control measures that he's been able to put in place. So that's helped. And then, we have, for Cardomax, we've done some, just recently, gotten some bank financing just on the little bit of growth that we've seen.
Did that investor, invest in Cardomax too?
Yeah. Well, so he was already, because he was already...
Ask him how he feels about greens.
Because he was already... he hadn't paid any capital into Cardomax, but because he's been a good partner with us for other stuff, we brought him in as a partner for this. And like you with other, your employees and others, once you see and they have a proven track record with you, and you want to bring them into other stuff. And it's like, I want them to be successful just as they want us to be successful.
Right.
And it's usually a minority ownership, but they've been with us and they help us. Even like, my sister, who you've met, Melissa, she started off as a volunteer with us at Matbach, and we just gave her ownership in our holding company this year, because she stuck with us through everything, and but like she bleeds Matbach, like she is just as much Matbach as Zach and I on this, but like we gave her ownership of not just Matbach but our holding company. We voted on it, and we all unanimously was like, yes, like she has to have
loyalty.
a bigger piece of it. It's like, without her.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like when I was talking about like hiring a SEAL, like, or anyone that's extremely valuable. You see their value and stuff, but you're like, I can't afford to, I know your worth. I know your value. I can't really afford to pay you that now. But like, if you see my value and what this is, like, it's like you're vesting in essentially, like, put in your investment with your time and your loyalty and your efforts, and trust and believe it will fucking pay off big time. Well,
it's like,
on the end.
like, we've done like sent her and her husband like on a trip or done bonuses and stuff. And it's like, okay. And we do that with everybody, but it's like it's good, but like what can, like, she's been with us from the beginning. Like I said, like there was one time leaving on deployment, I literally like handed her my laptop and was like, hey, here's QuickBooks, here's our website. Like if you get an order, this is what you need to do. Here's who you need to talk to. I'm going to Africa. I don't know if I'm going to talk to you in 6 months, but can you help us out? She was like, sure. And then I literally got on the plane and left for Africa the next day. And she was just like, kept the business running.
Yeah.
But we didn't pay her $1 for that during that time because we didn't have it to do. And so,
but now, but then once you get on to a place where you can, you definitely, want to give back. And I think that, people like us, like we're not just lip service, you know what I mean? Like, and our team members, employees, like our staff, whatever, they know that, like from our actions, like we're doing as much as we can to show you're appreciated, you're valued, and like I'm gonna give you as much as I can.
Yep.
But like we're also trying to move this whole operation to where everybody can have more than enough. And it's like, and if you want all of that in the beginning, it's like you're gonna kill the progress of like there being enough for everyone to have an abundance. You know what I mean?
And they always say, like, it takes 10 years for an overnight success. And it's so true. I mean, you just see like time and time again, it's like you're talking, it's just like the grind of why businesses fail, right? It's like, it sucks. And not many people, even when you look at just like how much Massive Supplements has grown over the few years, right? If your customer base is a couple 100,000 customers, right? In the grand scheme of things, that's a small fucking town in the United States, right? Like it's not even a city yet, it's a town. Right. And it's like, that really put things into perspective for me. Like when we were growing Strikeforce, was like, we've got these thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of customers, and we're now going, more retail. And then when you take that, and then it's like, hold on, all those customers are spread across 50 states. It's not concentrated. And it's like, well, shit. Like now you're like, you see on a map, like a heat map, all your customers, and you're just like, well, shit, around that store, we only got 30 customers. I hope they fucking want to buy a shit ton from that store. It's like to make your goals and do all your stuff. It's just it's a whole different mindset and a whole different like way to look at it when it's like success. But then when you start peeling back the onion, you're like, well, we need like millions of customers to really infiltrate, like a worldwide or like a nationwide rollout for something like that. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I think, any company or whatever business that's self-made, like from the ground up, like if you talk to those CEOs or whatever, the owners of those companies, they all have, I'm sure, very similar stories, which kind of go like, if I told you everything that fucking went wrong and the unbelievable like odds we went through in order to make it where we are, like this overnight success, you wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm sure it's like that for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is like that for me. I know that. Yeah. And like, I just, you know, I was just hanging out with Andy Frisella yesterday or the day before, and at his facility, First Form Supplements, which is fucking huge, 200,000 square foot facility. And, you know, and I'm hanging out at his house and seeing all his fucking, you know, exotic fucking badass cars and everything. And it's just larger than life or whatever, you know, and it's
he's
like,
got the private jet, got it all, right?
Yeah. If people like, but like when people just go and look at, oh, must be nice having all this, you know, and it's like, you know, and I've talked to him kind of at length about, you know, obviously we're on similar paths, you know, like he started that and just kept grinding every day, and
couple
he's
stores
23 years into it, you know, of giving effort and not giving up, and, you know, facing problems and overcoming it and dealing with it. And, you know, 23 years later, this is the byproduct, you know, and,
but people only like people that just started following him are just like, you know, must be nice. Like you said,
must be nice.
The guy I was telling you about earlier, Colin Wayne, who I've learned a lot from, and just from his, he's an Army veteran, was blown up actually in the gym in Afghanistan and medically retired from that. It was okay, but just, you know, got pretty screwed up from that. The mortar came in like as he was doing like a leg lift or something like that. But but same thing, you know, just self-made entrepreneur. Started off like wanting to do men's fitness stuff, or like men's health and magazine covers and stuff like that, and bodybuilding and all, and then transitioned into home decor. And now he runs the largest, you know, home decor company in the United States. I mean, he's buying tons and tons of American-made steel and making wall art basically. But you know, when like he always gets the same thing, you know, must be nice. So he made a really good video of that, where he's just like, I love it when people tell me must be nice, because this is what I actually really feel. You know, must be nice. Oh, by the way, I'm at work on a Saturday morning. You know, must be nice. Oh yeah, by the way, it's a weekend, and I'm you know it's 9 o'clock at night,
it's
and
nonstop
I'm answering
sacrifice,
nonstop,
you know?
right? It's like, you know, my family and my kids and everything else like that I have. It's like all are taking a back seat while I'm growing this thing. You know, it's like, because it's like, I want to give them a better life than what I grew up in. And also I like, for me, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you're at work 24/7, always
365.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, your phone can ring at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning with a problem or whatever, and you don't have an option. You just got to do it. And I mean, you do have an option, either do it or fail,
right?
You know, and you know, for people who are serious about what they're doing, like us, like, there is no other option. It's just, and that is priority number one always. And
when it's honestly, like, for me, it's fun.
Yeah,
right? Like, I enjoy what I do,
and you have to enjoy what you're doing, because there is no way around hard work.
No.
You know, or I'm sorry, there's no way to success without hard work.
Yeah.
You know, the only time success comes before work is in the dictionary. And, you know, it is inevitable that you have to work. You have to work hard as fuck. But when you enjoy what you're doing and you love what you're doing, you know, they say you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And it is like, obviously the problems are frustrating. They're annoying. Like, but when shit's going smooth, or when you find a solution to the problem, and, you know, and you're seeing your vision come to life, or finally this product I've been working on is here, and it's, you know, being received well, and people like it, and, you know, and this vision I had is now brought to life. It's making me money, blah, blah, blah. It's the most rewarding shit ever. Yeah. And then especially when your business reaches a point where, you know, you're fucking at a level that you only dreamed about a couple years ago being at this level financially or something, and being able to, money is a tool that you can make shit happen, or, take stress out of, your family or friends or whoever, help people's lives. And like, for me, like, helping people has been the most rewarding and most fulfilling thing, and like, I want to be a philanthropist, and that obviously requires to be heavily impactful philanthropist. You need a lot of fucking money, so that's kind of like motivating as well, to grind harder, to reach new levels. And, like, every stage you get to,
a couple weeks ago, you got your dad his truck, right?
Yeah.
And then like, things like that, like, I can't wait to the day where I can walk up to my mom, like, here's your new house, right? Like, here it is. Like, thank you for everything you did. You raised me right. Like, it wasn't a fun upbringing, because, my mom worked holidays, was, I remember there's plenty she used to work for American Airlines. There was plenty of Christmases. Like, we would wake up at like 3 a.m. on Christmas, have a quick Christmas with my mom. She would go to work. We would go back to sleep, and then we'd wake back up and have actual Christmas. But but she was gone all day for Christmas or any holiday, or, just the hours that she had to work. But like,
you don't realize like the sacrifices that your parents made, if you had good parents, and like, doesn't sound like you came from money either.
No.
I know I didn't, and no one in my family has money.
Yeah.
My parents sacrificed, worked hard or whatever, and, as I get older and realize what they were doing and what they did for me, and the impact it had on my life and allowed me to be the person I am, I'm like super thankful.
Yeah.
And, it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling to, my dad, who's never had shit, you know what I mean? Everything he's had in his life, he's had to work and bust his ass for, and then to, hey dad, like, here's a brand new fucking $100,000 truck, that, and it's just like unreal to him, and it's like, that's what money can do. And, working hard and like creating this company and reaching new levels, like, there's levels to everything, it's like, giving your dad a truck is one thing.
Yeah.
Getting your mom a house is another. Like, there's just, and the list goes on and on. But
I know, like, growing up, like, we didn't come from money, but like my mom, like, before we turned 16, she gave it to all of us. She said, listen, whatever you save, I'll match it 1 for 1. So like, if you saved $1,000, I'd give you $1,000.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice.
My mom stole $50 from me. You think I haven't forgotten that? She stole my $50 when I was a kid. That's another podcast.
I made like $900 that summer, or whatever it was, and I saved it. And so she gave me $900 to go buy my first car at 16. Now I had to pay cash. I had to pay for all my gas, all my insurance, everything else that went with it, right? But like, I've already told my kids, my daughter's 13, or she's getting ready to turn 13 in March, and I've already told her, I was like, listen, no matter how successful I am, or if I could buy you a brand new car, you're not getting one. Like, you're gonna earn it, and I'll do the same thing that my mom did for me. If you want to make some money, I'll match it 1 for 1, but that's all I'm gonna do. Like, and she's like, can I start saving now? I was like, yeah, sure. Has she saved $1? No.
Idiot.
But yeah, I was like, but I keep.
You're never going to find anything like that.
No, but like, I always, and growing up, seeing other people with money and things like that, I would, I'd ask my mom, like, Mom, why can't you just put your card in a machine and money would come out? Because ATMs were still a big thing, and like, she's like, well, you have to have money in that machine. And I was like, oh, well,
just get some money.
Yeah. I was like, Miss Glasgow, she just puts her card in the machine and gets money out. Like, why can't you do that? And she's like, you got to have money in that machine. I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense.
My first car was a 1993 Ford Escort GT.
Yeah.
That it was my mom's car.
Yeah.
And it had like 284,000 miles on it or something like that.
Yep.
And dude, that was the race court.
Yeah.
That was my pride and joy. The thing was a piece of shit, but I bought it from her for like $300, I think. And I should have gotten it for $250 since you stole my $50. But
I had a 1987 Chevy Cavalier Z24.
Ooh,
it was a 6-cylinder.
Those were dope.
212,000 miles on.
Well, that's because you had that fucking fancy matching savings account there. You were able to buy the V6. I had the 4-cylinder. I was like, one day I'll have a Chevy Z24.
Yeah. I bought it off a friend's dad. But like I said, it had 212,000 miles. 1987. It was a blue Z24. It was awesome.
Nice. So now we've covered a lot of stuff, and you got Cardomax.
Yeah, that's
your newest venture, and I want to hear about Cardomax.
Yeah. We started it. We started shipping product January this year, so it's still brand new for us. But really looking at the market.
January, you say, huh?
Yeah, January.
Must be nice.
January. January of this year. So we started kind of warming things up December of last year, before the holiday. We were hoping to have, we were supposed to have product, before Black Friday of last year. That didn't happen. Then we were supposed to have it before Christmas. That didn't happen. And so then basically we got our first shipment of our energy intensifier pre-workout supplement right during the week between Christmas and New Year's. And so we just held off and started shipping stuff January 1. But what we looked at, and some of them, so we have 3 categories right now. We have an energy intensifier, we have the immune booster, and then we have a recovery accelerant. All of them are using liquids. So we liquefy everything. We emulsify all the powdered ingredients and concentrate them down, and put them into single serve packets.
Kind of like Massive Energy?
Kind of like Massive Energy. Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Sean
is my manufacturer for Massive Energy, if you guys have not caught on to that.
Yeah.
And I keep giving him shit because Massive Energy was supposed to be completed in January.
Yeah.
But we didn't get it till October because of entrepreneur life and all the shit we've been talking about. Hey, we deal with it regularly.
But we didn't ask for you to pay up front. That's true. We didn't ask you to pay 50 down.
That's true.
We did ask you to pay on delivery, but
that's true.
We didn't ask you to put 50 down.
Hey,
so
I'm
trying to help you out.
No, I wasn't stressing over it too much because, I didn't tell my audience about it. And lesson learned, because had I told my audience, hey, we're going to have this new product
next week
in January, look out for it. And it was October when I released it, I would have gotten just so many messages, and it would have added so much more stress and annoyance, and I probably would have came and beat you up. But since I didn't, it was like, no worries. I was like, well,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. We'll get it when it gets here.
No, and I mean, it's still, we have our own issues that we're still working through, starting off, a brand new company with it, and also just how fast we're growing. We are paying for ads and really trying to.
Must be nice.
We are, putting money behind it from our other investments and stuff like that we have to just grow it faster. Because I mean, we saw a need, but then also we're gaining so much momentum. We don't want to lose that momentum now by keeping taking our foot off the gas. Now it's like, similar to what you were saying. It's like, once you start getting into that rhythm, it's like you got to feed that machine.
Oh yeah, you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose the momentum. Yeah, man. It's because we've lost it 4 times. It fucking sucks. Getting it back,
and it hurts. And so we're constantly trying to figure out ways to not lose that momentum, but still maintain product in stock, because we've gone out of stock.
So that's the real reason. So Massive Energy was supposed to be out in January, but Cardomax was just killing it. So it's like, hey,
fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. Keep pumping out the Cardomax. Sorry, Mitch.
No, that's not what happened. But we got some other stuff coming.
No, we don't. Shut up, Sean.
No, I said we are.
Oh,
we
okay.
are.
Yeah.
We've got some other stuff coming. We got some other stuff coming. But really, so like our immune booster, for example, was 3 of the adaptogens that Zach was taking previously. So Scizandra, Rosea, and then Scizandra. Did I say Rosea?
Those made by Pfizer?
Yeah. Moderna, Johnson, and so they're natural adaptogens from like North Russia, China, or Russia, China area that they've used for decades in putting into teas and other things like that to help your body fight stressors. So if you're
the stress of communism,
yeah, if you're super, you've got anxiety or other things like that, it's supposed to help with those. And also the adaptogens, they're a natural like root, and so they also help with blood flow and endurance and some other things with it. But like I said, Zach was taking, similar to like you before you started smashing, you're putting all your smashing greens into one, that he was just buying all of them as separate tubs. And it was just like, well, there's a market for something that is a natural immune booster that has been tested for 70, 80, 100 years now. Let's put it all into one using those doses, and that'll be our immune booster. So I was like, okay. So that was the immune booster. The recovery accelerant, we heard like 2 years ago or so, the Rangers started issuing guys Cytoclone, creatine, and fish oil. So those 3 active ingredients are supposed to help with mild TBI, so traumatic brain injuries. Texas A&M's done a bunch of research on it. Some other universities have done research on it. And again, in those particular doses, they're supposed to help with cases of mild TBI. So they're actually giving them to guys before they're going to go do breaching operations.
Like a preventative.
Yeah, kind of like a preventative, but also, on the backside to help with reducing that long-term effect on it. So the research is still pretty new on it. So there's not a ton of research, but like, again, kind of like as we were looking at it, some of the leading indicators of it, like this is still positive research of this. So why don't we create a recovery drink, but something that is not like everybody else in the recovery space? So we went with more like a intra recovery. So it's like about 2/3 of the way through your workout, you want to take it to get some of that focus from the Cytoclone, and then to get you into that recovery, whether your recovery is, taking a protein shake from Massive Supplements or doing, chicken or whatever that recovery looks like for your workout or your lifestyle. We didn't want to replace that. We wanted to just basically help you get into that recovery faster with it. And then, like I said, with the brain, Cytoclone being that active ingredient to help really with the brain stimulation and focus to get you through that rest of that workout. But then our number one selling is our energy intensifier, being that it's a pre-workout on the go for hikes or patrols or just energy like that, where, it's like, I need that convenience and that portability of it, but also you want the consistency of it. So those are the 3 categories that we've got coming out now. We want to continue to expand, that product line and really focus in on that liquid, no artificial coloring, no artificial dyes, just trying to do less ingredients, less of those ingredients, and getting good high quality products out there for people that taste good too. So
yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, you're a fan.
I'm a fan. I like the Cardo Max.
Yeah.
So
I bought some of the Massive Energy too. So got my first shipment in. So. Yeah.
It's good stuff. We've already put in a purchase order for the second
second
round.
You have. 12 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
12 weeks.
See you guys next year.
12 weeks. We got it. We got it. No, it's good, man. And I mean, like you said earlier, in terms of like what, both of us, I think, from my standpoint, I mean, you've always helped us, help us grow. Anything that we've done, you've helped us, you've shared things with us, and, hopefully we can help be a voice, on social media. You've obviously got, like at first, like I think, when we were first talking about sponsorship stuff, Matbach at the time had a little bit bigger following than you, and we're like, hey, we'll help you grow. And it's like all of a sudden we look down and Mitch is at 100,000. We're like, well, fuck, dude, yeah, we can't do shit for you now. Like,
I've always
fly.
I've always I've always appreciated, I'm a loyal person, and you guys sponsored me, from the beginning, and when I had 5,000 followers, and I didn't really feel like I did a whole lot for you at that time. And then, and then it seemed to, my following was just fucking growing like super fast, and, and my following was super loyal and engaged, and, and it seemed like every one of my following was drinking Strike Force, and the greens were getting really popular, and, and I could have made the greens taste better initially, but that's how fucking loyal I am that I did not do it because I was like, well, I can just tell people to use Strike Force and it'll, help the taste with that. I literally did that for you guys, and then, and honestly, and I've told you, I've voiced this to you, is like I've felt like, damn, like you guys don't really ever do anything for me, and I know that was, Strike Force wasn't just your venture. It was, you were owned it with someone else, and so, and I know you guys whatever butted heads on some things, and we won't go there, but it's like, I was like, damn, like I feel like they're never doing shit for me. I'm constantly like promoting their shit. I was like, felt like I was like your number one salesman for a while.
You were.
And but and then Strike Force like took off, and it was like in 7-Elevens and all this shit, and that's why I was like, damn, hey, don't forget about me, hey. And but no, it's cool, but I knew it was not all you're doing or whatever, and and I know that we've been friends for a couple years now, and like always tried to help each other out with little tricks of the trade, business, lessons learned, after action reports kind of things. And, and it's cool that we can continue our, wherever we can find a mutually beneficial thing, like we're definitely going to do it. And, that's been super cool.
Even though, like obviously Massive Supplements and Cardimax are both supplement based, but like, I don't see Massive Supplements as a competitor, right? And
there's plenty to go around.
And
like
exactly. And even if we were, and even like that, it's like customers want to buy from people they like, right? Like, and like I know we have a lot of our VIP. Like I was talking about Massive Energy in our VIP group, and like a lot of our VIP also love Massive Supplements, and they do the Smashing Greens challenge, or they do this and that, or like they're probably VIP for you guys too. It's like, but they're getting, and they're sharing the wealth, and they're supporting guys that they like ultimately to buy from. And again, there's more than enough to go around.
Even like you said earlier, like if you have 100,000 customers and I have 100,000 customers, that's a town, that's a town in America. There's so fucking much to go around. Like the watering hole is so immense. It's not, we're not fighting over a fucking trying to wring out a rag and get a drop of water or something.
So you took my customer.
No, it's not like that at all. And but unfortunately, a lot of people feel that way.
They do,
and that's why business can be such a cutthroat environment and full of such shitty fucking people that have no problem shitting on you, stabbing you in the back. It's like they're in the fucking beehive drill. They have no problem fucking drowning your ass to get a fucking little breath of air.
Well, that was like Andy Frisella talks about this all the time about how when you first start off in business, I feel like a lot of people that are just starting off are more that way. And then as you get more years in, you're like, hey man, what do you need to be profitable?
Right.
It's like, hey man, I need 20%. All right. Hey. And then you go to the guy beside you and like, hey, what do you need to be profitable? He's like, hey, I need 10%. All right. And then you figure out to make it work. And then sometimes the beauty of it is like, hey, maybe it was like, hey, look, I can't give you the 20% you need. I can only give you the 15 because this guy needs 10 and I just don't have it. But then you start making your operation and you're like, hey, listen, I can actually give up you a little more. And when you're in business long enough, you do those things, right? It's not like just like fuck those guys. Like, hey,
and people they remember that shit too, you know. And it's like Andy has no fucking reason to help me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you look at it on paper, like people were even commenting like, oh, it's so cool. You guys both own supplement companies. You would think that you were like fucking
hate each other
or trying to whatever, you know. And it's like, no, not at all, you know. And he's a good person, and like I want him to have all this success, and like he has no fucking reason to help me, but he's like, you know, he can see where I'm at on my journey, and he can like relate, you know, and he knows who I am, what I'm about, and he's like, yeah, I want to help give you a boost or whatever, or let me connect you with this, and that will fast track you. And it's like, or here's a lesson that I learned the hard way. Like here, you can avoid that pain.
And you never know, too.
We can do that too with everything is relative, and it's on your level. Like, you know, and I have no problem. Like, Casey Mitchell owns Rising Labs supplements. I'm going to have him on the podcast. And, you know, he's a fucking Army guy, got his leg blown off, became a fucking power lifter, like started a supplement company from the ground up, and he's a fucking awesome dude. And like we literally like recently just been bouncing ideas off of each other, marketing ideas, you know, legal shit, like all kinds of stuff. And I'm gonna have him on the podcast, and fucking I post his stuff. I've posted his website, and people are like, why are you posting another fucking supplement company? I'm like, dude, like, it's okay if people have a supplement other than Massive Supplements. Sure. And I don't think that they're going to only, I mean, I do have my diehard fans, and I love you know, not fans, supporters that like use Massive only, you know, and right on. I like those guys for sure.
Absolutely.
Guys and gals. And, you know, but if people, birthing people, but if someone wants to, you know, use First Forms protein or fucking Cardomax or, you know, Smashing Greens, it's like, that's cool. That's fine. You know, like I have multiple brands of things. You know,
and
it's not like I dislike one because I like the other.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's so much to go around. And like I said, that's one thing that as you get more senior in your entrepreneur like journey, you start to understand that, right? Like, you know, maybe early on it'd be like, no, like that mindset is like, no, I have to have this. I have to have this.
Because you're like starving, you know, it's you have that street rat fucking mentality of like mine, you know,
but you don't realize that if you do share those opportunities like that, like you never know, there could be a tidbit that you gave to Andy Friselli that he now like implements or something it just never know like what you could say to somebody.
It's funny you say it. We were actually in his truck. He's got an F450 but he just bought it and it's all new and everything, and like mine, and he was like, this is the first Ford I've ever had. Me too, you know, and or like truck, and we were going to lunch, and he was trying to park it, and he was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, here, just hit this button. And I pushed the camera, and it showed the front camera. And he's like, oh man, that's awesome. And I'm like, see, we learned something.
I can help you out.
I can help you out too. You know,
now let me fly your private jet.
We were just joking about that, but
it is. I mean, you know, and it can be something like that, or just even a marketing idea, whatever it is. Like there's always, or like you were saying, you know, he will tell you like, hey, you know, we tried that, it didn't work at our scale, but maybe it works on your scale, right? You just never know, like with some of those things that someone tells you, or like, you know, it is. And I mean, that's, you know, one thing that I love about, you know, owning a company is like, you get to try stuff all the time too. That you said, there's a lot of problems that come with things, but that's also because we're trying new things. Like it's just that, it's that evolution of like, all right, try something. Okay, it didn't kind of work this way, or it didn't work the way you had it in your head. All right, pivot a little bit, try it again, do something different, or maybe even shelve that idea for 12 or 18 months and then come back to it and be like, hey, remember that thing that we tried that a few years ago? Let's try it now and see if it works. And then it does. And you're like, see, all we needed was just the people to make that work, you know? So I love I don't know. I love business. I could sit here and talk all day about business stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so we'll kind of wrap this up just because we've been going a while, and I know you got shit to do today. But so where can people find you on social media and your business websites as well? Yeah.
So Instagram is just Sean.Matson, Matson. Cardomax is Cardomax on the shirt right there.
There you go.
And Matbock is Matbock. So don't get it confused with Matlock. That was a horrible TV show. So.
And the website for both of those?
All just the spellings of that.
Matbock.com, Cardomax.com, and same for the Instagram.
Yep. Awesome. Easy. Try to keep it easy.
Cool. So. And you're going to be sending out the greens and whatnot to your email. Yep. Yeah.
So we're going to work that. We're going to work out a whole, like I said, a series of that. So I just need some of the marketing material from you guys.
Cool. Right on, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. It was awesome. Had a great time getting to hear your story a little more.
Stories.
Yeah. And hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. We are signing out. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to the Violent Hippie Podcast. Remember, be kind or else.